Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
So, I got that book in the mail.
You got it?
I got that book, The Real Man.
Have you been getting better?
I've been working on my real man skills. Tommy Buns, this is Tom Segura, ladies and gentlemen, a.k.a. Tommy Buns from Your Mom's House podcast and many other things. But he introduced me to a great man, a man who wrote a book that every man should read. What is his name again? Julian Ray?
You nailed it. Julian
Yes.
Ray. Yes.
And he wrote a book called The Real Man, which might be the worst book that anybody ever wrote.
You know, it's epic on a lot of levels. Do you know what I was thinking about after you left?
What?
It is that, like every dude, it really is it's his game for getting laid, was making that. He's the guy that goes like, ignore these guys that are they're whistling at you and saying things about the way I respect you. But you know what I mean? Like, it's that play to
Right.
get laid, and writing that book is just his play to get pussy, is what I'm saying.
Right. It's his play to separate himself from the pack by
Exactly.
showing his wisdom.
Exactly. And showing and being like, I'm not a pig
Right.
like these other guys.
Like everyone else.
Yeah, I'm a different.
We're over at, what is that, connected to TriCaster thing? So we're at Tommy's house. You see those yellow tabs? If you don't see this live, what he has is this thing, this book where he has these yellow tabs at virtually everything interesting in the book. So they're overflowing with yellow tabs, and Tommy just goes to them and just laughing as he's going to each tab, just like that. Every time you go to the look at your face, you're so happy.
I started doing that because I saw Oprah do it with books when she had guests. She was like, let me read you a passage from your book. And so I was like, I got to start marking my favorite passages from this book.
With Post-it notes. That's a very clever way of doing it.
There are 3 separate chapters in this book that address just smelling good. He has a chapter called Smell. He has a chapter called Body Odor, and and a chapter called Sanitation.
What? That's so ridiculous.
It's crazy.
3
It's all
chapters.
basically don't smell bad.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah.
It's
And that
so
dude gave me
funny.
that book in person, you know?
Yeah, he ran up to you in Hong Kong, right?
Yep.
That's hilarious.
But then we found his dating profile online. Did you get that too?
No.
What?
Yeah, he has a dating profile?
Yes.
We don't need to mock this gentleman any more than we already have.
It's already heavy.
It feels cruel.
And I read it in full on my podcast, his dating profile. So he's been mocked plenty.
He's probably like, every time he hears about it, he's like, that one fucking book.
Yep.
If I just didn't go up to him and gave
To
him that one
guy,
fucking book.
that one asshole. Yeah, so he says he dabbles in stand-up too a little bit.
I bet he's hilarious. He should be on the Ding Dong Show.
Yeah, no, he would crush it there. Yeah, he would crush the Ding Dong Show.
There's a lot of weird dudes out there, man.
There is, and you know, I that's the thing is, I actually was like, you know, I really think that every dude's personality to a degree is developed as their play to get laid. You know what I mean? Like everyone takes their angle. Some are more genuine than others, but I think he really got into this because he thought this will be the way that I do it. You know, this is my way to get girls.
By writing a book telling everybody how to be.
I think so. I think it in his mind, it'll show these other ladies that like I'm so respectful of women that you should give me a chance. That's how I see it.
So respectful that I'm published.
Yeah.
Is there misspellings in this book and everything? Because I'm looking at all the reviews, which are all your fans, I can tell. But
Yeah.
it looks like he spelled breath wrong, or what's the breath thing?
Well, is there an E at the end?
It's
breathe.
B-U-R-E-T-H.
Your breathe should be delicious and refreshing.
Bad breathe.
Yeah, I mean, there's 9-word chapters, so
Oh.
Not paragraphs.
yeah, chapters. Wow. Yeah. Poor guy.
Well, you know what, man? Maybe he enjoys it. Everybody's got a different frequency. Maybe
Yeah.
to him, he's like, I don't know what the fuck these guys are talking about. I nailed it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
go over that book with a fine-tooth comb. I don't find any flaws. Matter of fact, I think it might be the greatest piece of literature ever created.
Yeah, and you know, people started. I think you said it, and then I got a bunch of emails from people being like, we have to make this a New York Times bestseller.
I bought it immediately.
Yeah.
I bought it. I did Amazon one-clicked it while I was on your show.
You know he's been getting emails like notifying him of either reviews or sales where he's like, this shit's finally taken off. Like, I've been waiting for this to take off, and it just picked up this week.
It was like, I've told you that story about Joey Diaz hiding behind the curtains of the Comedy Store while this woman was on stage. This woman used to bomb every week. She was an open micer, but she was one of those open micers that was like always there. She was always there. She was there on a Friday night, Saturday night. Like, I think they kicked her out of the store. I don't think she's allowed to go to the store anymore. She was crazy. Anyway, she's on stage and doing her usual jokes, but Joey Diaz had snuck behind the stage and he was back behind the curtain. He drops his pants. And every time she says a punchline, he opens the curtains and people see his belly, his ball bag, his dick, and then he closes the curtains. And it's like, it was the ultimate, like, punchline machine.
Hilarious.
And she crushed, dude. She crushed. She was strutting on stage with confidence. She was like, all of a sudden, people get it.
Yeah.
They finally get me.
So great. It's so great that did she find out right away or no?
She never found out.
She never. That's the best.
To this day, I don't say her name when I talk about it because I don't want people to know.
Yeah.
Maybe I said it once, but most of the time I don't say her name.
Yeah. And you know though, but when she tells people about stand-up, she's like, "Should have been there, man. June 7th, 2003."
Well, I was there the next time she got on stage, or one of the next times she got on stage, she's like, "God, this audience sucks." You know, she was like, all of a sudden, it was like the audience's fault.
That's so funny. There's such a funny thing about like some of the. I remember like some open micers, their unwavering like dedication to sticking to, and like I'm saying not like somebody who's developing, like who's horrific, and they're just like, nope. Every fucking time. How long have you been doing it? 19 years. And you're like, Jesus Christ.
Well, you know what it becomes, man? It becomes like their culture. Like that's
Yeah.
their hangout.
Yeah, that's true.
That is like amateur bowling night. Like, should you only bowl if you're going to be a professional bowler?
Right.
You know, I mean, to someone who's like a serious bowler and they watch some fuckheads like you and I
Yeah.
go there
You
and
guys
gutter
do.
ball it and
You guys are taking up lanes, man.
rolling in as
Yeah.
hard as you can.
Yeah, totally.
That's what I do.
That's what I do,
I'm
too.
fucking terrible at bowling. But
I'm going to shot put this shit down there.
think about it, man. I mean, we don't respect that at all out of comedians.
Right.
Like, if you're a terrible bowler and you go to the bowling alley, the other bowlers like, look at this fucking loser. But if you're a terrible comedian, a lot of people will look down upon you
Definitely.
with just great judgment.
Yeah, disgust. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Why
if
are
that
you still
happens?
doing it?
Think that happens with bowlers?
I think so.
This gutter ball rolling bitch.
I think it's probably like, you know, some comedians would ignore somebody really bad. They'll just be like, yeah, that's just
Well,
terrible.
sometimes you can't. You got to ignore them because
Right.
then they'll just corner you.
True.
They'll corner you and they'll ask you what the secret is. Like, you got to
Yeah.
tell them where the leprechaun lives.
Yeah. How often do you get asked where the secret is? I bet it's quite a bit, right?
Not really.
No?
No. The secret? No.
No, like not even like emails. Dude, I'm starting out.
Yeah, I get
Get that
those
e-
occasionally, but my email is not very obvious. And the other thing is that even if I do get those, like, if I don't know, like, I can't tell you anything. So what am I going to do? There's not very few things you could tell someone who's like just starting out or someone who's not doing well, or
Yeah.
very few things you could tell them,
Well, I used
especially
to
without knowing them.
I used to say a lot more, and now I got it down to like a sentence. I mean, and I'm honest with it. I'm just like, write a lot, get on stage a lot. Like, what else am I going to tell you? Write a lot, get on stage a lot.
Not only that, there's some people that even if they write a lot and get on stage a lot for whatever reason, they're never gonna figure it out, no matter what
Yeah.
it is, whether it's being a musician or
Oh,
being
right.
good at fucking bowling. There's people that I played pool with back when I played pool. I played pool for years. There's people that never got any better than they were the first time I met them.
That is crazy. I mean, and I know it's not. I'm not saying it about just those people, but that is kind of a fascinating thing where like you don't.
They never
you
get
have
better.
No progression.
There's a lot of people like that in martial arts. There's a lot of
Really?
people like that. Yeah. There's a lot of people that they would hit this like really low level of proficiency where they certainly got better than the first day.
Right.
They weren't like they were on the first day, but they only got to like a certain level, and then they just stopped. They stopped figuring it out. I don't think it's an athletic talent thing. I think it's like a focus thing or a desire thing or.
That's something you realize as you get older is that some people do not have the ability to hone in and like zone focus on something really hard. Some people have an unbelievable, like the best athletes have this an amazing ability to focus on their goal, on their training, on what they're doing. And then, artists too, like they focus on their music, on their writing. And I've noticed that there's just people, friends in life who they can't focus on anything. Like they can't make their job that they might like or not like a big part of like their wanting to they want to progress, but they don't know how to focus on getting better at it. They're like, I wish I was further along, but they're just so scrambled all the time.
That's a really common thing with comedians, and they pretend that they're not scrambled.
Right.
They always want to tell you how organized they are now.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, man, I got notes now and everything.
Yeah. Look at this book. Yeah.
They do the same goddamn material every goddamn week for years on end.
I got a guy a fucking guest spot at a club, and I shouldn't have. And I was like, I was working the club, and I had worked with him before, and this lady was like, oh shit. Well, she goes, so he's good, and I'm like, yeah, watch him. And so he does this set on the first show. It was like a Saturday night, does a guest spot, and it doesn't go well. And he was like, fuck, what I'm going to do is on the second, because there's a second show, he's like, I'll do a whole other set. And I was like, all right. And I go, well, just watch him on the second show. He's going to do a completely different set. Because he, and he was like, that was this material, I'll do all this other material. I go, okay. And he just went up there and did the exact same set as the first show. And I was like, you spent 10 minutes explaining to me how you were going to do all different material. And he was like, yeah, I don't know what happened.
He panicked. That's what happened.
Yeah, he panicked. Yeah,
he panicked. He didn't feel comfortable enough to
do it.
Well, sometimes when you're doing stand-up, especially when you're new, there's this mindset where you're so worried about the response that you're almost anticipating it while you're telling the joke, which distracts from your focus of the joke, which
That's
makes
true.
the joke bad. And you get super nervous, and then you go into this weird shell. And that's when guys start busting out like really familiar material just to try to get back on track or to get on track.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's probably what he did.
Yeah, you're right. And then he couldn't. I think he probably started with one joke from the first set, and then when that didn't make him feel comfortable, he goes, "I'll just keep doing the first set." He never felt comfortable enough to switch it up.
Well, you know what guest sets, the problem with those things are too? A lot of them are by dudes who don't work that much. So when they go up, it's a big deal. So then, and they fucking panic because it's a sold out room, like on a Friday night or something like that.
Yeah.
I stopped giving those out a long time ago.
Guest sets?
Just too many disasters.
Yeah.
I saw some goddamn disastrous guest sets.
Yeah.
Friends, you let them up like, yeah, I'm starting to do stand up again. Really? How long have you been doing it? Well, I went up last week, went well.
Yeah,
all right, go ahead.
I'll tell you this is something that totally changed, and it's because of like just practice at anything changes how you do how you do anything. And when I first started out, all my sets were 7 minutes and then 10 minutes and 15 minutes and and so on. And there was a point where I could do just crazy good solid 10-minute sets. And then now for the last couple of years, the majority of the time I'm on stage, it's like an hour. That's what you go up there, you do an hour. Now when I do a 10-minute set, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do in 10 minutes?
You panic.
Yeah. I really start to figure what should I, and then you're like, what should I take out of the hour to do here? Or how do I introduce a new 10 minutes? It's a whole different thing for me now.
That's why it's really hard for people that do TV shows like Letterman or something like that. You're doing 5 minutes.
I've done it twice. I've done, not Letterman, but I've done Conan and I've done The Late Late Show. God. And absolutely, it's and then, and both of them, there's a guy behind the camera who's circling his finger, will you wrap this shit up? You're at 5 minutes and 8 seconds. That's long, you know?
God.
So he's like this, and you're just ignore.
Yeah, you gotta ignore that guy. That guy's distracting as fuck.
Yeah, he's just trying to get that, do his job. But yeah, that's
there's
hard to do.
A lot of those just trying to do my job people that are annoying. When Ari was filming his special, there was some fucking dude that was working the camera. He was talking like this. In the back of the Comedy Store, which is about...
As he's shooting?
10 foot deep. You know,
Yeah.
how big is the fucking comedy
Yeah,
store?
sure.
It's a small place.
Yeah.
And this guy, the cameras are moving back and forth. They decided to have cameras on dollies. Like, they way overproduced it.
Sure.
They needed to just set some cameras up in the corners.
Yeah.
Set them up, get a static shot. You don't have to keep moving around the room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just stop. But they did it anyway, right? So they did it, and this guy was, like, directing things. So he's in the back. Yeah, Lenny, zoom in left.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
and I'm not kidding. This, like, people were like, what the fuck? Like, we had to turn around. And I had to talk to people. I go, what is this? Why is this guy so loud? And they're like, he's been doing it. We tried to tell him like the people that worked the door. We tried to tell him to tone it down, but he didn't want to tone it down because you got to talk to these people that have the cameras.
Yeah.
Like, they have to hear him clearly over the laughter. So he's talking like this. It's
That's-
so distracting.
And that's a guy too. I can already tell that like, the more people that would tell him to quiet down. He's like, you want to do my job?
Yeah.
You want to do this?
I don't know if he was like that at all. I didn't talk to him. But
You tell
it just
Lenny
didn't
where to
make any
zoom in
sense.
then.
They don't need to move on dollies and shit. Like, everybody wants to over fucking produce these things. Put
Specials,
a camera in
yeah.
the center, bang. Put a camera on the side, bang.
Yeah.
Put a camera on the side, bang. Don't usually use the cameras on the side unless there's something
Yeah.
weird going on.
Sure.
Focus on that camera in the
All
center.
you need for
We're
a
good.
special is like a wide, a medium,
Yeah.
and a tight shot. That's really all you need.
They want to add all kinds of crafty shit to it.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even let the Comedy Store be the Comedy Store. When I got there, there was all these crazy lights on the side of the stage, and it was weird. They, like, changed the lighting. It's like, you guys doctored it up. This is not why
Yeah.
not, if you're going to be at the Comedy Store, don't you think you should look like the Comedy Store,
I think
maybe?
that was the point of being there.
Yeah, why is the Comedy Store have all these fucking landing lights next to it?
Yeah.
Why is the room red?
I
Everything's
do like
glowing
this
red.
the trend. I think it's become a trend now to go back to clubs for
Yeah.
specials. I like it a lot.
I love doing mine in a club. This is my favorite special to
That's
do.
the best club, dude.
That club is
picked
amazing.
The best club.
There's like 4 of the best clubs.
Yeah, that's
but that's
true.
one of them.
That's one of them.
Helium in Portland's one of the best clubs. Helium in Philly, that's one of the best clubs.
Agree. Acme in Minneapolis.
I never did that.
You never did Acme?
No, I went there once.
Ridiculous.
I went there once when Arj Barker was performing.
Really?
Yeah.
You'll lose your mind.
It looked amazing.
It's just like those clubs, just like Comedy Works downtown. Go Bananas, Cincinnati's
That's a
fun
good one.
Yeah.
What else? What other good ones are there? Let me think. Oh, Dangerfields in New York City. You ever do that?
Never did that.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's dark. That's an evil club. There's some fucking satanic shit going on in that.
Really?
place. Yeah, I mean, it might just be like when something like stays around too long.
Yeah, sure.
It just soaks up weird vibes. Like, the Comedy Store definitely has weird vibes in it. There's
Yeah.
a weird vibe to that place. And Dangerfields has a weird vibe too. Although Dangerfields for the longest time didn't have like the best comedians. It had I don't know how it is now, but when I was there, it was like there were some real good ones. There was the occasional good one, but there was a lot of like really bad comics that literally didn't work anywhere else.
That's in the city?
Yeah, it's on the east side somewhere. I don't remember where it is, but I did that place a lot, and that's another one. They filmed the Rodney Dangerfield's comedy special there. His HBO comedy special with
Dangerfield
Kinnison.
at Dangerfield?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they filmed it with Kinnison and I think Dice. I think Dice and Kinnison were on the same
That's
one,
where they
right?
shot that? I
Yep.
didn't know that. I've seen that one.
Yeah, was it Dice and Kinnison? No, Dice was with Bill Hicks, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure Dice was with Bill Hicks. Kinnison was on a different one. But either way, they filmed the Kinnison one there at Dangerfields, and it's just perfect.
Yeah.
It's just a small stage and a small room, and everybody's shoved in there tight, and it's all dark. There's mysterious hand jobs going on throughout the room. It's just like, it's a dark place.
A lot
It's
of
just weird.
mysterious ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird place, man. There's that. There's a few. There's a few, like, let me think of some other ones that are really good. Comedy Magic Club, pretty goddamn good.
It's a great club.
And the Ice House is the best room of all time.
Ice House is stupid good.
It's number
man.
one. That's number one. That
More-
fucking main room.
And people like even more people in LA, comics I'm saying, everyone complains about how far, like, it's not that you should be going there all the time.
They're
it's
weak.
amazing.
It's 20 minutes away, you
Yeah.
weak bitch.
Yeah.
It's
Just
20 minutes
drive over
away.
there, man.
It's the best setup in the country. And the staff, they're the nicest people on earth.
It's the coolest. Yeah.
They're
yeah.
so nice. Everyone is just all hugs and laughs, and they're all sexually harassing each other. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
They're hilarious.
How
The
a staff
girls
should be.
The
Yeah.
girls are mocking the dudes' penises
Yeah.
like openly. I came out of the green room, and they were like mocking each other. I was
Yeah.
like, this is hilarious. But they're laughing, and when people like work at comedy clubs too, a lot of times they have like the whole like PR thing or HR, human resources, never really
Yeah.
comes into play.
No.
Everyone's you used to hearing about people gagging on cocks, you know, like over and over again.
How could you
Three
get
shows?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if somebody works here on the weekend, it was fucking. You were watching like 5 shows.
Fisting jokes and everything. Yeah. What are
constantly.
you gonna complain?
And so everybody's always they're more like what's the word you would use? Loose with their dialogue.
I can imagine a staff person like at a club like that, and then they go over to Applebee's, and people are probably like, "Yo, what is up with you and all your cum jokes?" We're trying to serve the fucking Jack Daniel's steak and shrimp. Fucking tone it down.
Some of my favorite people.
Yeah, they're
work
great.
at comedy clubs.
Yeah, they're great, man. It's a special breed.
That's another thing that we need to realize as comedians. It's like a very important thing that I try to tell as many young guys as possible. Everybody always wants to think that there's some sort of an adversarial relationship between you and the comedy club, especially in the beginning. Guys like, oh, they're not paying me enough money, or they don't give me good weekends, or this and that and that and this. There's always going to be person-to-person conflicts, but
Yeah.
here's what's important. If comedy clubs weren't around, we'd be fucked. So
Exactly.
we need people to run comedy clubs.
Yeah.
And guess who's not going to run comedy clubs?
Yeah, yeah.
Us.
Right.
Okay? We need those fucking
need
people.
those, yeah.
They're very important, and they're
Yeah.
not us. They're different. So imagine being a non-comedian working with a bunch of fucking nutty comedians all the time with all their crazy problems and their addictions and their excuses and showing up late or
divas and shit,
doing
yeah.
heroin on stage, you
Yeah.
know, all whatever the fuck they do.
Where my shoes at?
Yeah, craziness. We've all seen people's riders, you know, where they have a fresh pair of shoes backstage for 'em. I've seen riders where dudes had
Yeah.
a fresh pair of sneakers. Can you imagine if you had to deal with this shit?
No,
I gotta
no.
give this guy fucking sneakers. He's gonna have his size 11 Jordans in the box right there, waiting before he goes on stage. He slips them on right before he goes up. That's his ritual. Green M&Ms, you fuck, only green.
Asians, you know, they're always doing
It's
something.
always the Asians,
Yep.
right? Yeah. I was gonna say Pakistani, but I guess that's Asia.
That is Asia. That's true. I did
Make up a race.
a club where they had a PlayStation, and when I was like, "That's the shit." Thanks, dude. And they're like, "We got it for fucking asshole who made us buy one, so he would do his shows. So
Oh,
enjoy."
my
Then go out
God.
and buy a fucking PlayStation.
Yeah, see, man, if you were a regular person just trying to run a little business, maybe
Yeah.
it'll be a fun business. I'm in the restaurant bar business. Maybe I'd like to run a comedy club.
Yeah, it'd be fun, right?
And then
Yeah.
Joey Diaz is calling you from Vegas. Listen, dog, you got to wire this money. You got to wire this money. We got no show, cocksucker. Like, Joey in his crazy days.
Oh man.
You know, I mean, anybody. I mean, think of the comedy nightmare stories that we've heard about comedians doing stupid shit to a club or to a club owner.
Dude, I remember. Yeah, I know. Like I remember I did a club years ago. I get to the condo. I'm like, "How's the condo looking?" And they're like, "Well, the guy that just left, he shaved his pubes in the sink." And I'm like, "Dude, I wish you would not have told me that." And then so and so left a piece of salmon under the bed, so the whole place would smell like fish. And you're like, fucker.
Brendan Walsh. People do shit like that,
Yeah.
man. And here's the other thing they do. When people get out of the clubs, there's a thing that they do when they like go to theaters. They almost like despise clubs then. I would never
Yeah.
go back and work the club. I work the theater.
Yeah.
Like they have this like weird image thing.
Yeah.
What's that? Why would you be ashamed of clubs?
That's all ego.
That's so
all ego.
stupid.
Yeah. And the whole thing is like for 90%, maybe more, if you do make the leap from clubs to theaters, you're still going to go back to club. Like your draw, almost everyone's draw dips again.
Well,
you know?
Louis C.K. has one coming out that he did at the Comedy Store, and that's one of the things that he talked about. He's like, you know, because he does arenas now. I mean, he does like Madison Square Garden.
Huge.
It's like 14,000 people,
Yeah.
right? So he does that. He does theaters.
Yeah.
Anywhere between like 1,000 and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he also does the clubs, which is everything we would consider like, I think a club's like everything below 500.
Yeah.
Like even like that place in Phoenix, that's kind of like a comedy club / theater.
Yeah, which is a great room, by the way.
great
That's
room.
my favorite. I think that's my favorite
Big room?
Big room in the country. I like that one a lot.
It's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah.
San Jose, that's not can't even be considered a comedy club, can it? Like
It's a reform. It's a
theater.
It's an old theater. It doesn't have quite. It's over 4, but so you could technically be like it's a club, but it doesn't have the layout of a club. It looks like actually like a beautiful historic theater. Yeah.
Yeah, that place is amazing. That's a beautiful theater.
I just did West Palm. I did one night there last week, and
It's giant.
giant.
700 people.
They have
Giant.
TVs halfway through, so
Yeah.
like halfway through, if you're too far away, you can just look at a TV like a UFC.
And I did Irvine last month. I did a night
That's
there.
a giant one. I'm
Giant.
doing that in June. I'm doing a weekend there in June. That place is enormous, man.
But that is probably the best run comedy club. Like
Oh, yeah.
that's got
Dan knows
home
his shit.
base. Yeah, they know their
The
shit.
improvs know their shit.
They
You know
know.
what else too? There's like a lot of comedy fans out there because
Yeah.
they've cultivated that over years and years.
Yeah.
And it's hard for them to get into town.
Yeah.
Getting into town sucks a fat dick if you live in Irvine.
Yeah.
Irvine's fucking far.
Yeah.
Like that might as well be San Diego. It
Yeah.
might as well be. The difference between getting to Irvine and San Diego is just leaving the house a little earlier. And,
Sure,
you know,
it's far, yeah.
If you leave the house at 3 and try to get to Irvine, it's like leaving the house at 2 and trying to get to San Diego.
It
you
is.
get there at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, you really will.
It's hours.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, it's
yeah,
death.
Yeah, yeah.
If you miss that traffic, it's crazy.
Yeah.
If you miss it, you just like, I'm here an hour and a half early.
Yeah, yeah.
What the fuck?
It's crazy.
You can miss it, but I don't know what that time is. There's like an 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock window of opportunity.
When I was emceeing, I would and I had an Irvine weekend. I would leave at like fucking 1 in the afternoon, and I
get
just
down there
hang out.
early.
Yeah, just hang out.
Hey, why not, man?
Yeah.
Do some work. Get your notebook out. Go
Yep.
over some jokes.
Yeah.
Better than freaking out in traffic at 5:45. Stop dead. Going, how long is this gonna last? What if this is another hour? It's fucking 7 o'clock show.
I only missed my set one time
Did you?
in my whole entire career, and it was emceeing Ontario years ago when it rained. So it rained, so everything gets backed up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like traffic gets
Yeah.
worse, and I left L.A. Hollywood at it was like a 8 o'clock show, and I left at like 6 to go to Ontario. I got when I ran in, the feature was like, "All right, thanks everybody." I was like, "Shit." Missed my set completely.
Whoa.
Just yeah. I mean, this town teaches you to leave way earlier than you
What
should.
is it gonna be like in 10 years?
When there's even more people?
Yeah, they're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Unless there's some sort of a natural disaster, LA's gonna continue to grow. Unless there's one of them, the rock earthquakes like this movie he's got coming out.
Oh yeah, San Andreas, right?
It'll take some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then everybody's just gonna overrun Colorado. Then everybody's just gonna move to Colorado.
People have they propose that nothing would be better for Earth than like a significant wipeout of a certain percentage of the population, right? Like for everything. I mean,
That's very short-sighted on Earth's point.
Yeah.
Because I would say, Earth, listen, we're the only ones, out of all the shit that you got growing, the only ones that might be able to figure out how to divert a fucking asteroid. So, watch your mouth, bitch.
Yeah, talk
okay?
some shit.
Because
You wanna talk some
want
shit?
us out there fucking and making computers.
Yeah.
we throw some shit in the ocean. We'll figure that out in a couple generations. But what we're doing is we're paying attention to the fact there's rocks above you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Bitch.
Earth. You
Right.
fucking whining bitch.
Human beings worried about a natural disaster be the best thing to happen to Earth. Yeah, how much of a natural disaster? Fuckhead. Because you got hit by, you forgot about this, you got hit by a planet once.
Yeah.
The Earth got hit by a goddamn planet at one point in time.
How long ago?
Before your time.
Like 100 years ago?
It's like
1890?
72.
Before slavery was abolished.
Okay.
God was trying to wipe out slavery with the Earth, with another
Bam.
with another planet.
Another planet came?
I think it was like 1 billion years into Earth's life cycle.
Yeah. That was a while back.
Imagine, though, if you saw a planet in the sky and it was slowly coming towards us, and astronomers like, we've got a rogue planet. There's a rogue planet headed our way,
Yeah.
and we have 2 years to do with this. Oh, by the way, we lied about going to the moon. We've never actually really landed anywhere other than Earth. Sorry.
And then as the planet gets closer, people are like, where's it going to hit? And they're like, they keep like changing like where they think it's going to hit, and then it lands, and then they're like, it's going to be North Korea. Everyone's like, all right, cool.
It's going to hit so hard that even if you do leave now in a spaceship, the aftershocks of the impact will blow your spaceship apart in space. So it's pointless to leave just every day.
That'd be
Murder, chaos,
yeah.
machetes, gunfire,
Billionaires
fucking,
would all still be gone, though. right?
dance parties.
They would still be in their rockets, like, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyways.
Do you think they would try?
I think so, yeah.
I think we could reinforce the outside and beat
Yeah.
the shockwaves. I've done my own calculations, Roger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe one guy just thinks it'd be cute to get that guy up in space.
Paul Allen would be up there.
You think so?
Yeah, watching from above. You guys are fucked. I can see
You
it
don't
coming.
want to be that guy, though, man. You don't want to be alone in space with $1 billion.
No, that sounds so fucking. That's so depressing to think about.
I would way rather die.
Yeah.
Way rather.
With the rest of us?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to live in space in some tiny community that, is trying to suck water out of rocks on Mars.
No, that sounds horrible.
It's so stupid. Like this, you know how long people have worked to turn Earth into what you can enjoy right now?
Yeah.
Like, this has been a long process to get to 2015, and you're just gonna bypass all that and shoot yourself off into space like an asshole.
Somebody would. They would. Somebody would.
We would have to be like thousands of years more advanced than we are now, to
Yeah.
the point where we could like change the atmosphere of a planet. Like we could land on Mars and do something. Like, what is that? There's a scientific term for when they reintroduce oxygen to an atmosphere of a planet. I forget what it is, but they've developed machines that they could theoretically pull this off
photogenesis.
with. No, that's.
No, I know. I'm just an asshole.
I think it's just when you're good looking. But whatever that term is, they eventually want to do that to like Mars. They eventually want to fly there, set up these gigantic gas making machines, and somehow or another make oxygen.
It is cool. Like that we can't even wrap our heads around how amazing it'll be. Like how in thousands of years, like we can't wrap our heads around what life is going to be. But we do have the benefit of looking back and seeing like how much better our lives are than every generation before. I'm talking about just quality of life.
Oh yeah,
like how hard life used to be.
Dude,
it's so and you look at lifespans. People living to their 30s was an average lifespan a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like you got married and you had your kid at 13 and that was standard. And then everybody got a cold and they're like, well, he's dead. Like he died of his cold. Like, that's what happens. You get cold and you die. It was horrific. And
not only that, like what we're talking about was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what's really bananas.
Dude, you know what I always think about? Air conditioning. Like how fucking normal that is to us.
Yeah.
How you're like, it's 100 out, and you walk in, you're like, everything's fine now. Like it feels
It's not just
comfortable.
fine. You watch TV in your underwear, picking your balls.
And you're like,
meanwhile, you could
it's not bad at all.
cook food on your driveway.
Yeah.
You literally cook food in your driveway.
And then, of course, the reality, there's some people who don't have that, obviously, still, who are like, you're like, Jesus, imagine right now if I didn't have that. Like how in the worst hot day, how horrific the quality of life becomes.
Like Phoenix. Like Phoenix in the summer.
It's brutal.
Phoenix in the
Vegas,
summer.
Phoenix.
Vegas in the summer.
Oh.
It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine that anybody can endure those temperatures.
I remember doing gigs in Vegas, July, August, where like you're at one casino, whatever, the Bellagio, and you're like, I'm gonna walk to the next one, just the next one. Which you forget how the size, the magnet, of just the buildings.
Yeah.
And that next one is, I don't know, a quarter mile or something, maybe a little more than that. That's how far the next. That's not far to go. But when it's 124 outside, and you're walking down, and you get there, you're like, I'm gonna check into this hotel. Like I'm not even gonna go back to my old hotel because it is fucking brutal outside.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like a hairdryer blowing in your face all day.
And there's homeless people there. Like they live in that.
Do you think you adapt?
I think you do adapt to a certain degree because human beings were just so resilient, and you do adapt to things. But I think there's also people you're like, that they die. And
Well, I know that Eskimos, or you're supposed to call them Inuits, their hands have adapted to deal with the cold. Like they don't get
Right.
numb hands like we would if we went up there.
Really?
Like, their circulation's different, their skin's different. And I also know that like my friend Steve Ranella was just in Bolivia, and he has a podcast, the Meat Eater podcast, where he's talking about this trip to Bolivia. It was pretty fascinating. One of the things that we're talking about is how it was really hot down there, and really everybody was sweaty, except the natives. The native Chumani, or I think that's how you say their name, they didn't sweat. Like to them, it wasn't that hot.
That's
Like, they
unbelievable.
were used to it. Like everybody else is drenched with sweat. And these guys are like barely drinking water. They drink a little sip of water every now and then, but you look at them, they're not glistening with sweat like everybody else.
It's amazing how quick the adapt and the change happens too. I remember like for the first 13, 14 years of my life, I lived in cities that had cold winters. Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Minneapolis. And we moved from Milwaukee to Florida in November. And in November, sometimes in Florida, it'll get all the way down into the 50s, like in South Florida, right? So I go to school the first few days, and kids have sweatshirts and jackets on, and I'm in a T-shirt and shorts. 'Cause we just moved from Milwaukee, where it's like 3 that day.
Right.
So people looked at me, and they're like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I'm like, this is the best day I've had in months. Like, this is really warm. And then, you know, but the thing is, the next year you change.
Yeah.
You adapt to the new temperature, and then I was cold in 50. Then I'm wearing jackets. Yeah, it changes. It changes really fast.
I walked into a Starbucks the other day, and these ladies were complaining about the rain. It's been raining so much lately.
Yeah.
I'm like, you fucking crows.
Yes.
You dumb crows.
We're in a horrible drought.
They just make
Yeah.
noise.
Water, the life-giving water
There's
coming
mud.
from the sky. What is it going to do? Water the crops? Feed the animals?
Yeah, we don't need it. You're right.
It was hilarious.
Let's shut it down.
Just people will find something to complain about, but it's just
True.
it's adorable when you see it because
is.
it's like this is so cliche. Like people are complaining at a good thing.
I know.
That's been happening quite often. Like, I wish I wasn't making so much money. God, I'm always making all this money.
I got all these accounts.
What's with all this sex? All
Interest.
this feeling good and getting my dick sucking.
That's a real great complaint to have.
People are weird, man. They're weird. They'll
Yeah.
complain about everything. I think people just look to complain about shit, so a lot of times they don't have to look inward. There's a lot of complaining going on. It's just like
That's it.
externally, venting your internal frustrations.
I think that's most of the time. Sometimes I catch myself doing it. And
But
I'll be
sometimes
like,
it's funny.
sometimes it's funny.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like when Diaz complains about shit, he'll complain about dressing, the different flavors of dressing,
Yeah.
and just start laughing. He's mocked me for like everything I've ever done.
Yeah.
It's always something. What do you got your fucking fanny pack over there, Captain? Like there'll always be something, you know. I remember when Eddie Bravo had this fucking wrist bracelet on. It was like one of those leather bracelets, you know, those rock and roll type with the snap.
Yeah.
And Joey walks over and goes, "What are you waiting for, a fucking falcon to land on your arm?" A falcon.
He gave me shit just for talking to people one time. Because we were traveling together, and like it was like the third person that had come up and been like, "Hey, are you guys doing shows?" And he pulled me. He goes, "Will you stop fucking talking to people?" I go, "What? What did I do?" He's like, "I'm trying to get in the fucking car, get to the hotel. I want to take a nap, play with my balls. Stop fucking talking to people." I'm like, all right, sorry." But he was so fired up that I was like, "Hey, man!" Like that I responded to somebody who wanted to talk.
Hilarious. That's hilarious.
He gets in those moods if he doesn't eat. It's ridiculous. Like especially right when we land at the airport, he has to get to his hotel as soon as possible. Like Joe would just be punching in like an address in the GPS. He's like, "Just drive, Cox." You know, it's just
Yeah, he gets mad at you.
He got mad at me for what I ate too, like because I didn't eat enough. Like I just happened to like that time and we landed.
Trying to be healthy.
Yeah, I ate a salad. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Eating a
You got a
salad?
fucking salad there.
Yeah.
Making me
He had like 4 plates
Only
of
half a
wings.
dressing. You got a half a dressing. You fucking half a momo.
Yeah, he's a fantastic.
Yeah, he's quite a character, man. Getting mad at you for what you eat.
Yeah, so funny.
Getting mad at you for what you wear.
You wear.
But that's different. It's like humorous.
Yeah, that's humorous. No,
Just whining is just.
yeah. Sometimes I complain and I'm like, and you realize it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes in the middle of complaining, I'll just be like, "Oh, I'm just complaining. I'm complaining as a distraction.
Yeah.
I don't want to focus on something to do with me."
It's just it's weary. It's
Yeah.
wearisome. It's tiresome when someone does it. It's like, oh god.
If someone's really negative and not in that funny way, but
Mm-hmm.
in like just a genuine like everything sucks,
Mm.
everyone's out to get me. That shit you can't be around. It's not healthy to be around.
There's a lot of people like that. They get
Yeah.
stuck in that rut. I had an ex-girlfriend like that. Oh my god. It was brutal, man.
It does. It's like a disease.
She would complain about everything.
Yeah.
I mean everything from food to the restaurant to the people sitting next to the table.
Yeah.
To this, to that, to that, to this. It's just like it's
I can't be
constant
around it anymore.
deluge
Yeah.
of just negativity. Whereas you could be around the same person, the same situation, and they just notice all the cool shit about things, and have a different balanced perspective, give a little energy to the conversation.
Yeah.
Be someone that's sensitive to how other people are perceiving you and what kind of vibe you're giving off.
Have you ever been around the extreme opposite though, where it's like usually a girl that's just super positive and that can never see any negativity? That shit's almost as annoying.
Well, delusional is
Yeah.
delusional is not good, right?
Right.
Yeah, delusional is not good.
There's delusional. There's a lot. I'm not saying just about girls, about people. Like,
Yeah, it's almost like positive perspective's nice, but not seeing the negative. Like, well, I think what he's doing now is just trying to establish himself. Like, no, he's a crook. No, he's stealing people's cars. Like, no, he's a con man. Well, it's not as easy for him probably as it was for you. So maybe we should give him the benefit of the doubt.
That's also a certain level of just being naive, like really naive people.
Naive is a better word.
Yeah.
Clueless, naive, delusional.
Yeah.
The girl I know that does that carries around crystals in her purse.
Oh,
so it's like one of those things.
When you smell patchouli on a girl, do you immediately go, "Oh Christ"?
If I smell on a human being, period, I'm just like, dude, yeah. Let's not hang out.
It doesn't smell that bad.
I don't
if
like
it was
it.
exotic, it wouldn't smell that bad. The real problem with patchouli is the people who wear patchouli. That's the real problem.
That's true.
Because
That is true.
like there's smells that you'll associate with certain things.
Yeah.
Like there was a smell of citrus, and they got these mice, and what they did was they zapped these mice's feet, and every time they zapped their feet, they would spray this citrus smell in the air, and so these mice would associate this citrus smell with getting zapped. So I think when you smell patchouli, that shit you just think annoying hippie. Here we go.
Yeah, it's true.
Here we
it's
go.
the first thought.
Here we go, annoying lazy person.
Yeah. You're just
Here we go.
You smell and you're like, you're a bad person. I don't like you.
It's all share. Well, basically like share crops, and
How about that?
I'll give you my poetry, and you can give me some food.
It's also a gross smell. Let's be honest. It smells just
I don't really
disgusting.
like it. Yeah.
Honestly, I couldn't even picture it right now.
It smells like black licorice mixed with dirty feet.
If it was a really pretty girl, it probably wouldn't bother you. If you're like really into her,
not
and she
true.
put that
I don't
patchouli
know.
on.
It's not true.
I think you'd be like,
Maybe you're just picky.
Picky
That
guy.
smell is nasty. That's like worse than BO.
do you like that?
Oh no, it's not. That's illogical.
BO's
BO's disgusting, especially BO on a woman. Oh Christ.
The problem I have with
When I'm fucking guys, I don't mind a little BO. You know what I'm saying? But girls, that's where it is.
it's such a violent smell though. Like any
BO?
smell. No, patchouli. It's
You
such a
haven't smelled
violent
my
smell.
BO. My BO is way more violent than patchouli.
It's like old lady and roses
Dude.
and perfume. Like they walk by and you're almost like, I got a headache now from that smell.
Well, that's strong patchouli. I like a mild patchouli.
There's BO that's. I mean, everyone knows
never-
their own, but like, you ever get like in a cab and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
Whoa, man. I remember I worked in a real estate office in Boston, like right after college, and there were these guys, because Boston has like just nothing but apartments and nothing but rent all day. Just
I thought you were going to say
traffic.
nothing but BO.
It does. It has nothing
And
but
lasagna.
BO too.
That's everyone has BO.
There were these
Something
three
about the
guys.
beans.
These guys would come in, and when they came in, everyone was like, "Whoa!" As they walked in the door, like, "What the fuck?" And these three guys, as soon as they left, we would take the Febreze, like Febreze,
To let
the whole
everybody
thing.
know that you knew.
But then what happened was they would be, they needed to check out apartments. So whoever lost the bet in the office at the time would have to take them in their car because they were going to be in your car. You have to get it detailed.
Oh, my
So people would be
God.
like, "No fucking way!" No, like you would try, you do whatever you could to not get these dudes or any guys like them in your car. That's almost always dudes that smell like that strong.
I had a kid in school, and when I lived in Florida, it was like the first stinky kid that I remember. Mm-hmm. He turned out to be a real nice kid. He's a sad case. He had been burned in a fire when he was young.
Jesus.
Yeah, not totally, but one of his ears was pretty fucked up, and he was like really insecure about it. And we actually got in some sort of a physical altercation, and I don't remember what the thing was, but I remember we had to go to the teacher's office, and I remember it wasn't like super violent. We didn't like beat each other up, like maybe we like pull each other's clothes or something like that, because we were like 11. And when we went to the teacher's office or the principal's office, we had to sit down and talk about it. the principal asked us both what had happened, and neither one of us was really mad. But when we decided, like, can you guys shake hands and be friends? He was like so eager to shake hands and be friends. I realized, like, oh, this poor fucking guy, man. He smells bad and he's got a burnt ear.
Yeah.
And he probably just didn't have any friends. Like, the reason why he was douchey was probably just he wanted some sort of attention.
Sure.
Or, like, I remember thinking that at the time.
At that age.
Like, his overwhelming, like, I didn't think he was going to sucker punch me. I didn't think I was going to say, yeah, let's be friends, and then, until we get outside, bitch.
Yeah.
It wasn't any of that.
Right.
It was like, he really wanted to be friends.
Yeah.
And so I remember we shook hands. We like gave like a shake hands hug thing.
Yeah.
And we were cool with each other from then on out. But that poor bastard stunk.
Yeah.
I don't know if his parents didn't take care of him, or if he was scared to bathe, or if, maybe.
It's
baby.
amazing the way smells stick in your memory forever. They
guy-
do. Like, you remember like how good something smelled somewhere, or something. You smell it again. You're like, oh, that takes me back to exactly this point.
Yeah.
You remember it, and then a smelly motherfucker. Like, I can smell those dudes in Boston right now. I want to get out of here. I want to leave.
Or cats or pets. You stop smelling cats
Oh,
in
yeah.
like litter boxes. I just put down my cat that I talked about last time I was on the show, and for my first time in 17 years, I get to have a house that has no litter box.
Oh,
And I
right.
don't even know what that's like.
Well, you're lazy too. I don't think you clean your litter box every day. That
no,
litter box
I didn't
must
do it
have
every
been a
day.
Disaster.
Oh yeah, it's like once a week, just throw it away.
Oh no!
Buy a new litter box.
Oh my God! See, that's the problem. You have to do that every day, otherwise you're breathing shit.
Did you hire a maid
Piss
finally?
fumes.
I've had a maid. Right now, I don't have a maid.
You
but
gotta
I've
get a
had
maid.
Why don't you
Yeah.
get one of those topless maids that they have from those?
I did that. I tried that. I told you that.
You did try that?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
It's not good. It was really bad. It was like an older woman and her daughter, I think. And you
can't
think
choose who you get to do the topless
well,
maid?
I don't know. There's like a few different companies, but the one I did, there's a van parked down my street, so I just called it.
and are you just gawking? Or are you like,
Why don't you?
do that
You're the
again?
guy who like you rub maps massage parlors.
Right.
Why wouldn't you like at least do a fine Yelp review?
It said $99, so I wasn't really thinking into it. And like I didn't think like, oh wait, I have to watch them clean because when a maid's in, I'm like one of the guys that hides because I'm so
Right.
ashamed. I'm
Right.
Like, but then like you just kind of stand there in the kitchen going, yep, she's topless. What? This is stupid. What am I doing this?
But is she really cleaning, or are they doing a bad job?
No, they're just regular maids that are getting an extra $20 to take their top off. I think because these are people that are like they seem like they were related and they seem like just normal maids. It was very very uncomfortable.
I kind of like it.
I felt very bad.
Why?
Because it was like sad. This was an older woman, like
How old?
50, and maybe her daughter that was maybe. 19.
Are you sure it was her daughter?
It seemed like a
boy.
mom and daughter thing.
Really?
It was really fucked up.
That's
I didn't
rough.
like it.
Well, you got to think if you know someone that's really fucked up and they have a kid, that kid's gonna grow up with a fucked up parent. Like if someone's like really crazy, or if someone is a topless maid for a living, they don't think there's anything wrong with it, and then your daughter hits 18, she's like, "Mom, I want to join the topless maid business." You're like, "Hey, it's good enough for me. Why isn't it good enough for you?"
Yeah.
The mom was a little over.
True. Very true.
The mom was a little overweight, but she had humongous Mexican tits. And when she took her bra off, it had like the most horrific stretch or marks from her bra,
her
just
bra,
digging
yeah.
into
Indentations.
her. Yeah, it looked
Did you
like.
talk to her like when she took her tits out?
No, I just sat there and they both just put it in a bucket. Like they just put their clothes. We didn't listen. Like they
You
didn't talk like
No?
or anything.
They didn't say like hello.
I think they said hello when we came in, but they were like not any English.
You didn't go,
really.
like, you-
and I was just like the kitchen, living room. I only had them clean the kitchen, living room, and the bathroom. I didn't even let them go. And
You should have said
How could
you
you
have
not have-
huge Mexican tits or something like that.
I
They
didn't want it. It's
speak-
uncomfortable.
They speak English, right?
Barely. They like I remember they asked where the vacuum cleaner was, and it was very like vacuum cleaner.
Have you looked under your huge Mexican tits?
I would always wonder, like, what is that life like? I would have to ask them questions. I would give them extra money just to be able
Just
to
to
ask them
talk,
questions. I'll say I'll pay you for a whole extra hour if you sit down for another 5 minutes. Just let me.
How was the daughter? Attractive?
The daughter wasn't bad, but she was a little chubbier also. Like they were both a little chubby, but the mom's boobs were weird because she had like the huge like hangy ones, and she was cleaning the kitchen, and I would like just kind of walk in and just be like, oh, what's going on in here, and her just dirty boobs like touching the oven, while she's cleaning it.
You have made it
so
sound very
weird.
sad. It's nothing exciting.
It was horrible. I do not recommend it.
I just would want to talk to them and find out what that's like. Like, do guys like try to attack you? Like, that seems like a dangerous gig.
I
Totally
think that's why
sounds
they
dangerous.
do it though, because they're so they weren't very appealing, and it was sad that I think it was like a one-time thing. I would rather pay.
But that was a one time for them.
I think once you get it, you're not going to have them come back ever again. You know what I mean? It's
you
like
mean
it's
a
almost
one-
a joke almost.
You mean a one time thing for you?
Yeah.
not a one time thing for them.
Would you? I would rather do for 28 extra bucks get a regular maid, but I could be bottomless, and they would not like get mad at me. Like I would just sit in there with normal maids and just have no pants on. That'd be better, right?
I think that's illegal. Unless you
That's
make
what I'm
an
saying.
agreement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The
You have to-
agreement is
yeah.
I don't have to wear pants.
Well, I'm sure someone can do that.
Right.
I'm sure that's a great. Well,
just
you'd
sit
have
there.
to want to have your pants off with them too, so they'd have to be like at least somewhat attractive.
Right,
Or-
you're allowed to stroke and just follow them around, but they can't call the
Okay,
police.
that's rude. Because then you would get in the way in your little narrow hallway and
Yeah.
accidentally come on them. I know how you work.
And clean it up.
In this city, you could definitely work out your fantasy. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, that's a minor
Yeah.
request.
Yeah.
You could work out some pretty crazy shit in this
Yeah,
town.
definitely.
Have you heard about this movie, The Jinx? This show on HBO?
I'm all caught up, man. All
Really?
5, yeah.
Do you know they reopened that guy's case because of that show?
I did
Tell
not know.
everybody that doesn't know what the show's all about.
Well, there's a gentleman named Robert Durst who is part of the Durst family, which is he was an heir. The Durst family is one of the five biggest real estate families in New York, and he was sort of, even growing up, kind of the outcast son. Mother died, committed suicide, or fell when he was really young. And basically in the late 70s, early 80s, his wife, Kathleen, disappeared. And disappeared. Nobody has, even up to this day, no one's ever been able to find her. He was never formally charged. People thought he had something to do with it. And no trace. He gave a lot of different accounts to the police, to investigators, of what happened the last time he saw her, the last time he spoke to her. So all these kind of things that don't match up, that make it sound pretty suspicious. So when the case didn't progress anymore, a few years later, his best friend at the time was a woman named Susan Berman, and she was set to talk to investigators when they reopened the case. This time, I would say, I think we're talking about like into the 90s now. So it had, a lot of time had passed, and investigators wanted to talk to Susan Berman, who had been Durst's best friend, and whom there was a long line, a track record of him giving her money over the years. And from his account, it's like it's a good friend of mine. I just always gave her money, but she collected substantial money from him. Well, the day before an investigator was flying out from New York to see her, she was murdered in her house in Benedict Canyon. So it's like kind of the second person involved or close to Robert Durst who died.
How much money did he give her?
Well, they found that like in one of her journals, she kept track of like loans or gifts people had given her money, and recently he had given her $50,000. So, and the way that they piece it together, they think that over the years she's collected much more than that. So she's was his friend who was always kind of struggling, and he was always giving her money. So, from his side of the story, I'm rich, I give my friend money. From people that are more suspicious of it, it's here's money to never open your fucking mouth.
Whoa. So he allegedly gets her whacked.
That's one of the things. Now, she has a pretty interesting story because her father was a big-time mafia guy. Her dad was real close with Bugsy Siegel and was in the heyday of Vegas being run by the mob. Her dad was one of the major players. So people who say it's not Durst related will say that it's related to a book she wrote where she kind of laid out a bunch of stuff about the mob and like her dad's role in things and all these people. So they say, it's very much in line with a mob hit.
Wow.
So there's that. And then a few years after that, right when they knew that they were going to reopen this investigation, he wanted to go into hiding. So he moved to Galveston, Texas, and he started living as a mute woman. So he wore a wig and he wore a dress, and he started renting an apartment in cash. He paid like a year up front, and he knew he couldn't mask his voice, so he pretended to be a mute woman, so he would only write down things. And he eventually developed a friendship with the guy across the hallway from him named Morris Black, who was just like this old curmudgeon-y guy. And basically, fast forward, in the Galveston Bay, a fisherman finds a floating bag, and it has an arm and then a leg, and then basically the police come and they find chopped up body, and they find an ID, and they're able to get fingerprints, and it's Morris Black. So it's the guy that was across the hall. So they go to his apartment, and they see across the hall is this woman who's living there, who's not there at the time, and you know, they find that like there's blood on the floor, it's kind of, you know, all the telltales of that like something happened here. And what ended up happening was that he was charged with murder. He posted bail, and then he went on the run, and he actually got caught shoplifting a sandwich after he had jumped bail, and in his car they found $38,000 in cash.
Whoa.
And he had $500 in his pocket. Like, he just shoplifted for the you know, they didn't want to pay for the sandwich. That's how he got caught after he jumped bail. Then he gets charged with murder. He doesn't deny murdering the guy, says it was self-defense, but he also chopped the guy's body up, like cut off his arms, cut off his legs, cut off his head, put them in bags, threw them in the bay.
Whoa.
Not guilty.
What?
Jury decides not guilty. So, you know.
So he admits to killing a person and
Yes.
chopping them up.
And not guilty. And, you know, there's a lot of people that like that swear that he, you know,
He's killed 3 people.
has killed 3 people, yeah.
It
So
kind of makes sense if he's killed one. They caught him red-handed killing one.
and cutting up the body.
Yeah, that's deep shit. That's
Which-
something you do on your 3rd body.
Right.
First 2
Right.
bodies you light on fire.
So they opened
Yeah.
up this case. Are they going
They're,
back to it?
that's the thing in this country. There's no statute of limitations on murder. So, you know, I think this show went into so much detail about. So Susan Berman was 2000.
What a nutty motherfucker.
You know what's the craziest part in the interviews on the show on the Jinx, his eyes look black.
They look like a
They're-
demon.
They look like demon eyes.
Yeah.
Specifically, the entire time he's being interviewed, and like you look, and they cut back to the guy who, because they made a movie about the Galveston story. I think Ryan Gosling starred. It was a pretty good movie. That guy who directed that film made this documentary, and they're in this hotel and the back and forth. Every time they cut to his eyes, you're like, that looks like fucking. Like what's it called? Like from like
Drag Me to Hell.
it's like Slytherin, the like Harry Potter, like snake guy. You're like, Jesus Christ! Is there no eye color? And it's pitch black.
What's the Ryan Gosling movie?
I don't know. I don't remember the name. It's a good movie that kind of, you know, that takes you through the story pretty well. And actually, Durst liked the film so much, that's why he agreed to do this series with this guy.
All good things.
All good things.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Yeah, he liked it so much that he agreed to do.
And in that movie, does he chop the guy up?
I can't remember if he does it in the Gosling movie, but yeah, that's Gosling, yeah.
Gosling playing him?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think he probably would, because, you know, he really did that. He admits to doing that.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah. He's a nut. There's a detective on the Jinx that says it best. He goes, I don't think that Robert Durst is like somebody who takes pleasure in killing. I don't think he's like a bloodthirsty guy. But I think if you corner him and you make him feel threatened about something, he'll kill you. And I was like, I think that's probably accurate. You know,
It's also, when you think about this guy, he's, how old is he now? Like 70?
older. He's
80?
got to be late 70s,
Late 70s?
early 80s. Yeah, I think so.
So think about this guy. He grew up in, you know, what was that? I mean, he was born in the 40s?
Yeah, he has to be. You have his age? It's got to be.
So let's just say the 40s.
Yeah.
So
He was born in 43.
yeah, okay. There you go. So he's born in the 40s. So he grows up, when he's 7, it's 1950. You could basically do anything back then.
True.
There was no fucking fingerprints. There's no DNA.
And if
There's
you're
no
rich?
nothing. When did they figure out fingerprints? Find that out. When is
Yeah.
fingerprints to solve crimes? I'm guessing the turn of the century. I'm guessing 1900s. I might
Yeah.
be wrong about like 1940.
I'll say 1876.
For fingerprints? Either way.
1892.
1892. But bam. Either way, I think that those people that grew up then, they had like a different sense of like what you get away with.
I think so too. That and money.
Yeah. Oh
But-
yeah.
'cause
And money.
Money, especially if you're talking. I mean, everybody says now, somebody with money can do what they want, get away. But back in the day, that is truly reality. If you
Right.
come from a lot of money and you destroy something, if you ruin somebody's life, you kill somebody, they're like, well, you have a lot of money, so yeah, we're gonna pay for
Stop
this shit.
peeling off them shekels.
Yeah.
And when he was doing this, like when he was living in Galveston, he had that apartment. He was still rich, right?
Rich as fuck, just
Didn't have
not
access
showing
to the
it.
money.
He could still access money. I mean, when he got arrested, he called his wife, because he's married now and remarried someone who was living in New York, and they, this is Galveston, Texas, and they're like, bail is set at $250,000, which is, that's what you got to pay. And he's like, cool. And he called. He's like, I need 250,000. And then
Why is he living in an apartment?
because he wanted to be off the grid. He wanted nobody to notice him because he knew that investigation had just fired up again, which, it's not normally how innocent people act.
Yeah, especially living as a woman in
a
Galveston,
mute
Texas.
woman in Texas, yeah.
Why didn't you just go to another country?
It's a good question. Yeah, no, he still had access to some money because paid that in full. That's $250 gone when he jumped bail. And then he hired a team of lawyers. Like they were like, this is the best defense lawyer in Texas, criminal defense lawyer, and so is this guy. And he was like, cool, both.
Whoa.
Paid them each $600,000 to defend him on this case.
And they got him off.
They got him off.
Jesus. I wonder what could they have said that makes it okay to chop somebody up and throw them in the ocean?
A body takes up a lot of space in your house.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a mute woman we're talking about. Okay, this man, he didn't know my client could defend himself. He thought he was attacking a mute woman. Imagine if that was your mama. Imagine that was your grandmama. And this bloodthirsty fucking savage of Jewish descent. Like, say some shit like that. Tries to fuck your grandma, your mute grandma, who can't even cry out for help.
Any of y'all on the jury Jewish? Yeah, I didn't think so.
Any of y'all in the jury have a grandma that you love dearly and you don't want some hooligan fucking her in some strange Galveston apartment?
If you ain't a Jew, you must have quit. Thank
kind
y'all. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Well, I wonder what would the argument be? Like, how could they?
They
They'd have to
show
say
it.
the guy was trying to kill him.
Yeah, they show it. I'm trying to remember.
They showed it in the documentary.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Jakes?
There's a lot of footage from the trial.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to hear it. I need to hear what the hell could
Episode 4 has all that stuff. What's great is when they read not guilty, they have the camera on him, and he's like keeps turning. He's like, not. They said not guilty, right?
Oh
He's like,
shit!
and he's like, you sure? And they're like, yeah, not guilty. He's like, oh shit, thank God.
God, that must feel amazing.
Yeah, that's got to
Like
be.
you're about to go to jail after you chopped a dude up.
Yeah.
Like what are the odds? How can I get off this?
How great would it be if they say not guilty? He goes, that's 3.
He walks out and fucking gang signs the cameras on the way out. Have you seen the Suge Knight footage?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I wanted to see it, but I was on
wanna
a plane
see it?
yesterday. Yes.
Okay, we'll show it. We can't show it on the air because it's very, very, very disturbing. If you want to see it yourself, they have footage of Suge Knight running over those guys. And
It's an accident, right?
Oh no, just you need to see it. There's no accident involved in this. This is not an accident.
Is there a live leak version or just a TMZ
Accidentally
version?
got captured on security cam.
No.
Yeah, so here's Suge Knight. He pulls up.
Yeah.
Apparently they were filming the
There's Bone.
NWA film.
Yeah.
So this dude shows up.
But it looks like there's some kind of something going on here,
Yeah.
and the guy had a gun.
Yeah,
So it's
look, I'm sure some people were threatening him.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some shit going on. But note what actually happens. Like this part is not a goddamn accident. Look at that. Bam. And then watch this.
This is hard.
This is hard to watch.
Oh.
Oh.
That guy's dead. The first guy lived. The second guy's
The
dead.
first guy lived?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's why they blurred out the second guy.
I like
all
that
the
dude that
blurred
walks
spots
up.
because that guy just got murdered.
Wow.
Yeah, he's moving him around. That's good.
And then this guy
Takes
takes
his
a gun
possible
off him.
possible gun and sticks it in his back. Yeah, most likely it was a gun.
Yeah.
It seemed like a gun. I mean, he might have
Jesus.
pulled a gun out on Suge Knight, and Suge Knight drove over him. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. I mean,
So
look,
somebody ran
the guy
up here,
ran
yeah.
up to him. Hey, you son of a gun! There's like some movement, like he was.
the truck,
You see how the truck moves, like they're grabbing each other or
Yeah.
something. Fucking aim.
That's
man.
unbelievable.
That's hard to watch.
So you think Suge definitely did it to murder, not just like freak out, like get me the fuck out of here, and he just gunned it?
Well, it could be that too. But look at this. Watch this. Bam, and he didn't try to go around that dude. He went over him and ran that guy over.
Yeah, that's true.
That guy was getting run over, which is what most of us would do if someone pointed a gun at us.
Yeah.
Did you see what TMZ released today? Footage from like 4 years ago when he was with Cat Williams, and he did the exact same thing, where he just went through a crowd of people in his SUV. They just put it on. It's on the front page of TMZ today.
So did he hurt anybody during that one?
Let me check it because I didn't actually watch the video yet. I just saw it.
They need a documentary on him.
Yeah.
That guy's been through a lot of shit.
That dude. Jesus.
Just got shot earlier this year too. I mean, he's
Yeah.
like a real live gangster
Yeah.
living amongst us.
Bad shit happens though, wherever he is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to be around.
Every time he's at the Comedy Store, I legit get scared. Like because he used to come there a lot.
He attracts, that guy has a legacy of wrongdoing and just bad people around him. Like if you're in a room with him, that something bad's gonna happen. I believe.
It's kind of amazing that he, up until this point, was still out in the street.
Yeah, and he's served, significant time before. Like he's,
Yeah. Well, this last thing when he got shot apparently really fucked him up pretty bad.
he just striked one person last time. He
Struck.
and he doesn't say anything about if the person died or anything. Just-
Jesus Christ. He's
Yeah.
a bad dude.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird when you find out about those guys that are still out there, and you go, "Really? In 2015, this really obvious bad guy still running around out there?"
Yeah, he's like a villain, right? He's like a movie villain.
Like, imagine if John Gotti was alive and out there running around in Little Italy, mocking people the way he did back before they arrested him.
It's pretty crazy.
That was a weird one.
That's like a movie.
Well, the John Gotti one was a lot like a movie.
Yeah.
Because here was a guy
And the parades in the
Oh,
streets
yes.
from the neighborhood.
fireworks and all that kind
Yeah.
of crazy shit, and everybody loved the neighborhood because
Yeah.
everybody was safe. While this guy was the Don.
Yeah.
He would walk around these like super expensive suits and laugh and always look confident as hell. Big thick fucking neck.
Why trying to fuck with me? Yeah, it was always like they're just bugging a guy for no reason. That was my his favorite quote of mine is that like after it was all said and done, he said, "All I ever wanted was a good sandwich." That's
what he said?
That's what this was all about.
This
Yeah.
could have been resolved so much easier if we just went to a deli.
Hey, just give me a sandwich.
Give me a fucking sandwich.
Salami.
Well, Putin is kind of that guy, but
Yeah.
way bigger scale.
He's
And he's kind of that guy in Russia.
yeah.
I mean, he just killed his fucking adversary, or somebody killed his adversary. Some
Yeah.
guy who's the leader of the whatever other party, the
Of
Reform
course.
Party.
And like there's they arrested people and
One of the guys blew himself up.
blew himself up.
Yeah, they got to the guy's apartment. He blew himself up.
And there's never going to be a real investigation in Russia today of like that. It's connected to him. Like the order came down.
You think so?
I don't think they'll put it together. No, not because they're not capable. It's just that more people would end up getting shot.
But you
blown
definitely
up.
think it was Putin's idea to kill that
man.
guy.
Or it's his idea. There's not going to be a recording of him saying it, but his camp is like
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm reserving judgment, but it certainly looks that way. What's really fascinating to me, one of the things that's really fascinating to me is that this is only one thing that they do that's insane.
yeah.
But there's other things they do that's insane with super, super rich people, where they accuse them of a crime. They go in, they take their businesses, they take all their money, and they put them in jail. And they did this to this really rich, wealthy Russian oligarch, and they had him in jail for a long time, man. And they recently released him. I think he was in jail for like more than 8 years, if I remember correctly. But I remember this story getting out, like, this is the most insane story I've ever heard in my life. This guy was some wealthy oil guy, was worth, billions US dollars, and they just came in and took this guy's business, put him in jail. And that's what they've done it several times. It's not a one-time thing they do. They just go in there, whatever the dispute is, they just decide that you're an enemy of the state or you're you're treason, whatever crime they doctor up, slap your ass in jail, take all of your money, and then just leave you in jail for a long time.
It's horrific.
It's insane.
Yeah, and imagine too, like if you're just a regular citizen, like you can't, how scary that is to live there and you think like, well, start talking about it, like make us think about it. It's like, no, you really don't. Like, then you also get thrown in jail or worse. You can't even speak up about it.
Yeah, we don't comprehend that feeling that it must be to completely live in fear.
Yeah,
and it's not that this without a doubt, there's some organizations in this country, you don't have to name them, that have done horrific shit to U.S. citizens. People have been murdered. Things have happened, for sure, right?
Yeah.
We all agree that. But it's nowhere near the scale that it is right now in Russia. Like, whatever corruption you might think there is in America, and I would agree with you, there's a lot of corruption. But nothing compared to what's going on in Russia.
No,
Russia's nuts, man.
Yeah. That reminds me, like, I mean, I had a lot of Cuban friends when I lived in South Florida. Like, all their stories of their parents were like that. That, like, Castro just, they're like, we had this successful, whatever, these stores, and he just took our stores, took our shit, and was like, it's not yours anymore.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? Well, that's what happens when you've got a guy who's essentially like a king.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an emperor. I mean, he's like an emperor of Russia. I mean,
Yeah.
That's really what he's like, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrifying.
What is that guy's life like? What do you think a reality show following Putin around for a day would be like? Imagine if he just decided to allow cameras to follow him around for a year and just show how he actually runs shit. If he gets so crazy that he's like, look, I'll just show you all of it. You want to see what we do? Oh, yeah, this guy is talking a lot of shit about me, so we're going to kill him. And then they send some guys out and they gun some dude down, and everybody goes, okay, who's gonna do something about this? Nobody?
Nobody, yeah.
Are we going to do something about this? Like, what would the United States do? We thoroughly, what would they say? What would they say? We thoroughly disagree with Mr. Putin's decision to murder his biggest critic. What would we say?
Yeah, it would be a complete bullshit statement, of course.
We wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, of course not.
And if we did do something, then they would start talking shit about, what about your drones, bitch?
What happened today was a terrible tragedy, and we respect anyone's right to express themselves and say what they say and critique whomever they want to critique. And the solution is not dumping their body in rivers. Thank you.
Chopping them up and then dumping their body in rivers.
Yeah, it's insane, man. I think a lot of his actions too it's all based in fear too. A lot of like tough guy things. People think they're like, that guy's just this violent, crazy guy. They're all just scared.
Oh
you know?
yeah,
There's
he
more
was the
scared
head of the Russian version
KGB.
of the CIA, the KGB. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still looking pretty good at 62 years old. He looks like the guy that you would think of when you think of like a dangerous leader of a foreign country like Russia.
Yeah.
A dangerous, like hawk-like,
And
military
especially
guy.
shirtless on horseback.
Yeah.
That's the way to fucking roll.
Well, that was one of the things that. What the fuck is his name? The dude from the Bourne Identity, handsome bastard.
Matt
Matt
Damon.
Damon?
Matt Damon. That's what Matt Damon had said about Sarah Palin. That was hilarious when it was talking about it's like Sarah Palin and her witty charm, getting to folksy charm. I think the term he used, getting to become vice president with a guy as old as what the fuck is his name? John McCain. John McCain was like in his 70s already, right? When he's running for president, or at least close to it. Like, if he dies, and then she could possibly be across the table from Putin.
Yeah.
They were talking about Sarah Palin and Putin sitting down.
Well, Vlad, I got to tell you,
What you're doing to America is just wrong. In America, she's not going to stand for it. I'll tell you right now. The land of free, home of the brave. He would probably just rape her right there on TV. Just punch her in the face and Everybody scatters out of the
Zero
room.
respect for her. Yeah.
Oh my God, it could be World War III.
Yeah. I like that their culture, like, he never smiles, you know? That's considered, like, goofy and weak
Yeah.
to smile out of Eastern Bloc.
Well, he never gives you like a.
Yeah, no.
Not like Obama. Obama like has a wide open, laughy
Yeah.
smile. Like he's a jolly fellow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's considered goofy.
I wonder what they think about America. I wonder what like the KGB type fellas that are running Russia right now.
Silly, weak. Guys smile too much.
Yeah, but do you wonder like? I wonder what they think about the way their government works. I wonder if there's like, is there a select group of people that all this money is getting evenly distributed to, so that everybody like keeps their mouth shut, or how many people are wanting to kill that guy? Are we gonna have to deal with the guy who kills him someday? You know,
There's people that are all in for sure, and I think there's a lot of people that are just begging for things to change. Did you see that HBO documentary recently on gay people in Russia?
no.
That was tremendous. That was a really good documentary. How like they've written laws recently to
Yeah.
like ban it, and like there's these groups of guys that are just out hunting gays, and they like to bait them. So they put like ads online, and a guy poses that I want to meet you, and then when the guy shows up, there's like 15 people, and they hold him down, and they like throw piss on him, and they put him on camera and make him like just mock him. It's terrible. And then they upload it, and everybody watches it in the country. So, and a lot of times that guy who they're mocking would be a guy in the closet, and like will lose his job. Family will, they just humiliate them. It's brutal. It was brutal.
What do you think that is? Like, what is this all of a sudden, especially? What is this new attention on gay people?
I think it's because there's been a lot of progress with gay rights, especially in the last 10 years. So when something like that's coming more to the forefront, you go like, dude, this can't, the people that don't want it, the super homophobic people, are going to act the way that they're acting. They're so scared that this is going to be the norm, and that we're going to treat them like human beings, maybe even here, that they're like, no. Like, so they start these organizations like a better family today group. It's like, we can't let these people be teachers and just live in our apartment buildings. They're pariahs. Yeah. So they associate, it's all the old shit, like all gay people are pedophiles, like all that shit. So, but that is like thriving and huge in Russia.
Not just thriving, but they're making laws against it.
Yeah, man, they're making
actively.
laws. Actively.
Like, imagine if someone like tried to actively make laws against gay people today in the United States. There would be a huge uproar throughout the country. What kind of uproar is there in Russia?
I think it's one of those things where it's like, it's really rare to speak up against that. I think more people are probably in fear of saying something than doing what they know is the right thing to do. That's the thing too, is like you have to empathize a lot with the person who, is in that situation, who's not siding with that, but lives in that kind of culture. Where you're like, are you going to speak up, like when you know what the response is going to be? You
Right.
want to say yes, and you want to be like, yeah, of course, but it's a scary thing in an environment like that to speak up and be like, no, I'm going to say something.
Wasn't that what Pussy Riot went to jail for as well? I think one of the things they went to jail for was protesting against the treatment of gays in Russia.
I think so.
Yeah. That's one of the things where they were inside of a church. Like they
did it
done
in a
few
church.
things, but
Yeah.
one of the things they did, they were inside a church.
Yeah.
There was another one they did. They got beaten by belts. Did you ever see that one?
No.
Ooh,
There's footage of that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
These soldiers show up, security people, whatever they were, and they're like literally beating these girls with belts, with like a whip thing.
Dude.
Yeah, they just beat the
Brutal.
fuck out of them. Yeah, it was when they were protesting. Here, I'll pull it up. Pussy Riot protest.
They were a
gays.
couple of them were in the new season of House of Cards.
Really?
Yeah, they have a scene with the guy who's basically playing Putin on the show.
Yeah.
It's pretty, yeah. That show's phenomenal.
Yeah, I need to watch that watch that show rather. I still
definitely have to
Still
start-
haven't touched it.
From the beginning. That's one thing for sure.
I had to give up on Homeland last night.
No good?
The new season the beginning of it is just bumming me out. This chick is.
The thing about House of Cards is you got to give it a few. But once you get started, like, you're roped in.
Yeah, this is when they get beaten.
What?
Yeah, look, they put on
Their masks.
these masks, I guess, and they do this thing, like they're dancing, and they come over and they get maced. See, the cops come over and mace them, and then they beat the shit out of them. Look at this. Look at these belt things. They're whipping them.
Shit.
They just start fucking them up.
He's whipping a cameraman too.
Yep, everybody. He's whipping everybody. They're kicking everybody's ass, and they're doing it like while they're being filmed. They don't give a fuck. You know, you imagine if this was happening in America, like kicking her and shit. They kicked her when she's down, man. These are security people. They're not even hiding the fact that they're thugs.
Yeah.
This is like total thug shit. They're kicking people when they're down, whipping them. It's not like security guards in America or police in America, if they did shit like that, they would get reprimanded.
Yeah.
They would like, hey, your violence is inappropriate violence. But if they sprayed them with they're allowed to spray them. You can hit them with the tear gas in the face. You can do a few things as far as restrain them.
Yeah.
But you can't kick them and whip them like that.
It's pretty intense, man. I saw footage older, but still modern day, of like Russian cops do not fuck around. Like, and I mean like not for even just shit like this, like standard crime stuff. Like if you're actually going after a guy who's whatever, you know, selling drugs or something that they would normally send. Like these cops would like jump over a picnic table and kick a guy in the jaw, like to bring him down. Like they don't fuck around.
Yeah.
I saw a footage of a guy pulled over. He was pulled over by the cops, and the cop like knocked on the window, and the guy gestured, and then he took a baton and just smashed the whole window open.
Wow.
Drugged the guy out of the car. Yeah. I don't think in Moscow you talk back to cops. I don't think that happens at all there. It's not playing around.
Meanwhile, they live on the same planet as us.
Right? Yeah.
They've been around longer than us, way longer than us. I mean, what the fuck is going on in Russia?
I don't know.
That's a war-torn place. A lot of shit going on, right? All this crime. Do you know what's going on, the Crimea stuff? Do you understand that?
I mean, I remember that, I mean, I don't want to give a bad account of it, but like this was territory that Russia, you know, claimed a long time ago, or what was theirs. And then they just straight up snagged that shit back from, what is it, the Ukraine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And huge dispute over it, obviously, but Putin and Russia is like, no.
See, that's where it's fucked up. The
It's ours.
Soviet Union, they all used to be in the same group.
All together, yeah.
They used to all be together. They were all one team, and now they're like going to war with each other. That's like if like we got rid of Texas. We're like, you know what, you guys can just be your own thing.
Yeah.
Oh, but we want the Rio Grande.
Yeah.
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 No, that's ours. Give us that shit back. We're gonna take it back.
Yeah,
We want Texas back. We should change our mind.
unchecked. I mean, I think Putin would do
Anything.
would start taking all kinds of places back. Yeah.
Do you think he would go to war? Would he go to war with like the United States?
No, there's. I think even the craziest person, you know, you always have the nuclear threat in the back of your mind. And do you want all-out war? I don't know. In this day and age, it's kind of hard to imagine. You know, but like, can you imagine if he was just like, we're gonna take, I don't know, we're gonna
Russia.
Yeah, if Russia's gonna be like, we're going into Chechnya and gonna fuck them up again, like they have, and take the Republic of Georgia and all that shit back.
What if they say we got a bad deal with Alaska? We want that shit back.
Yeah, that would.
That's when it gets crazy.
Yeah.
If they find out how much oil's in Alaska and they just decide. I mean, isn't there some shit going on in Antarctica where they're like claiming spots of land for oil?
I don't know about that.
Claiming that it's Russia.
Really?
Sure, yeah. Because it started all that, you know, the snow caps are starting to melt. And so there's areas that are going to be open to travel with boats that aren't open right now. So they're starting to claim these areas. It's like the old school, you know, colonial type shit.
More war is inevitable. You know it's going to happen. You know.
Well, I mean, what do you mean inevitable? It's going on right now.
But I mean, like even like whatever declines now, it's not like that would be the end of wars. It's just gonna.
Yeah.
It's an endless cycle.
It just seems like it is. With
Yeah.
this current design of human being that we're using.
Yeah, and the fact that war results in profit, like the money is
Yeah.
made. That's why.
There's so much money involved in war.
Yeah, you see these like just the companies, you know, that make money. Does like designing a ship or a rocket that the U.S. government likes. They're like, this is great. We love this plane.
Billions.
Billions of dollars for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Billions to you.
Yeah.
Make more awesome shit. Make
Yeah.
it go around the world in 1 second. Can you do
Make
that?
a gun that does what? Yeah.
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 You see that thing? They have the laser that they're shooting. They can disable a car.
No.
Yeah, they're shooting lasers through the hood of a truck and just fucking barbecues the engine.
Really?
Oh, it's nuts. Like it melts through the hood of a car. I mean, I don't know how far it lasts, what the distance they're using these things, but they aimed at it. They did a test demonstration of it and shot through an engine block. You
You'd
got
be
that,
so-
Jamie? Look at this shit.
What?
Fired from a mile away.
Lockheed Martin. See?
Dude, it's from a mile away.
Did you see the boat one where it's to get off pirates and stuff, and they shoot a boat and it catches the boat on fire when it's coming to shore.
Imagine what Lockheed is going to get for that. Like when they go, well, you see what it does.
Yeah. They can shoot through an engine block a mile away. This is insane.
We love your laser. Here's $19 billion.
Fucking A, man. How
God.
weird is that?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Highest power ever documented
By
a laser weapon of its type.
New York Stock Exchange info first. You guys want to buy
Isn't
some
that
stock?
funny?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Lockheed Martin, NYSE, colon LMT.
Yeah.
It shows you. That's the first fucking
First
thing
thing.
it shows you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Y'all
And
want to buy some laser stock?
that is LockheedMartin.com's.
Right. But it's a press
Yeah, I've
release.
seen
from
that.
yeah.
The one when they did the
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah.
I've seen the boat.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they can do some crazy shit now, and they're gonna set those things up in space. So they'll just be in space,
Star Wars.
floating above us. And they'll just laser beam your fucking house into the ground.
Unbelievable.
Well, with
Terrifying.
drones now, and with laser beams in the future, and I just gotta wonder. Gotta wonder if we're gonna be able to keep it together.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing. No one's dropped a nuke since the 40s.
I think it's
Really
amazing
of
all
that.
the time. And that entire administration's goals, like the entire thing that their number one goal a lot of times is just to keep other governments from getting one. That's the number one on the list for dozens of governments is like just keep Iran from developing one.
Yeah.
Just keep that from happening.
But meanwhile, Pakistan has them.
Yeah, India.
India has them.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they
hate,
neighbors,
they're pointing
yeah.
at each other and
Yeah.
they're neighbors.
Yeah.
They're pointing nukes at each other.
It's terrifying.
Who smells better?
Whoa. Pakistan.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know.
India is more famous for their food, right?
Indian food is way more popular. Yeah.
More curry-like and
But I think that I have
probably similar.
a Pakistani friend who said the food's very similar. Yeah.
It's a trick
But-
question.
Is
They
it?
both stink like shit.
How dare you? You don't even go over there. You don't even know this. You're talking shit.
You know, yesterday I sat next to Serena Williams on my flight.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram.
I
That's
keep
amazing.
meeting awesome black people on planes. Like it's out of control.
What other awesome black people you met on planes?
Bruce, Mike Tyson,
Wow, that's right. You met Mike Tyson on a plane.
Serena, the number one. That's
Mike Tyson
easily-
became your buddy, right?
Well, I mean,
Do you text each other every now and again?
Nah, not really. I don't.
Shoot a text his way? Let him
No,
know.
I don't.
Still thinking about him?
I tell him he's in my thoughts. But
Oh.
you're in my thoughts and prayers. But
So
Serena
Williams was cool?
dude, the coolest, and that's
Yeah.
arguably, one of the most dominant, if not most dominant, female athlete of this generation. One of them for sure. She's
Is she the
unbelievable.
best? Is she the number one?
Number one, yeah.
Who's number two? Any white chicks?
Oh yeah,
that mix?
There's a bunch of
Europeans?
yeah.
It's all Europeans, right?
Ruskies and Europeans are always in there.
So she is. That's interesting.
she's so dominant, man.
How many American female tennis players are there that are really famous?
Well, if we're talking about over the course of history, there's been
Like right now.
Right now, I really wouldn't know. I don't know.
Right. So, but this is one of my point was.
Yeah.
But Serena Williams is famous as fuck.
She's famous as fuck because she's such a winner.
Right.
Like she is dominant.
Right.
And a lot of female tennis players, their decline they peak early age wise. The female dominance in tennis sometimes happens teens and early 20s, and she's 33, number one in the world and still winning titles.
She ran from a drug test.
No.
Yeah, she hit herself. It was either her or her sister.
Venus.
Yeah, let me find out. She ran into her safe room. She said she thought someone was breaking into the house.
And it was the drug test people?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Let me
That's
find out
great.
who it was.
Yeah.
It was Serena? Yeah, it was her.
That's hilarious.
You know what, man? I think it's one of those things. Serena Williams locks herself in a panic room and drug test mix-up. Whoopsies.
Wow.
I thought you were a murderer. You're just a lab technician.
That's hilarious.
She probably knew she had like another 6 hours before she pissed clean. She got in there, started drinking vinegar and water,
That's hilarious, man.
hiding in the safe room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
That's
Well,
She's
it's
an
one of those-
impressive athlete, man. She's an impressive athlete.
I think it's one of those sports, much like track and field, that virtually everybody's doing something. They
in tennis? I didn't know about it in tennis, really. I really didn't.
I think every competitive sport that's worth millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I think
There's so much money on the line.
I think that's what they start looking at it. They start looking at it like, look, we have two options here. Either we do it and we test positive and we get fined, or something goes wrong and we get
Yeah.
shamed, or we do it smart and nobody ever finds out and you make more money.
Yeah. Did you
Everybody's
watch
doing it.
Did you watch that Armstrong documentary?
Yes.
The one on Netflix?
Yes.
I remember being on this show a few years ago before, he admitted and all that stuff, and talking badly about him and being like,
Yeah.
and getting a lot of messages from people
that hated you.
that were really, they were like, he's never failed a test, you fucking idiot, and
Yeah.
like, they don't email me anymore.
That's what they always
But-
say too. When you ask them if they've ever done anything, they go, "I've never failed a test."
That was his big thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody says that. They
Yeah.
always say that. I've never failed a test.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what I asked you.
Yeah.
Did you ever take anything that enhances your performance?
And I said, I've never failed a test. Yeah. It's
I
so
am
rampant now. You're right. In all
immune
sports.
to questioning. Yes, it's rampant.
Yeah. It's in football, it's crazy. Like, yeah, without question.
I just think it's a part of the sport of track and field. I think it's a part of the sport of cycling. It's at least appears to be a part of the sport of MMA. There's a guy who's running the California Athletic Commission right now. His name's Andy Foster, and he's a very smart dude, and he's doing a really smart thing. One of the things he's doing, first of all, he's got a long history in martial arts. He's actually fought himself. He's competed. He's been a martial artist for a long stretch of his life. So he's really aware of the culture. He understands it. And he decided after this last UFC to blood and piss test everybody. Instead of just doing like the people that are in the main card, instead of doing the blood tests on a select few in championship bouts, because they're really expensive.
Yeah.
Like they cost as much as $40,000 for each blood test.
What?
Yeah. So I don't know what the California State Athletic Commission did when they financed that. I don't know how much they paid for it.
That's a lot of
And he
dough.
didn't want to talk about it. But what did say was they were going to do comprehensive blood screenings of everyone that competed. And he goes, if there's anyone that's hiding something, we're going to find it. And if you're hiding something that you wouldn't detect with urine, we're going to find it with blood. So,
Wow.
and so most people didn't expect these tests. So we'll see what happens.
Wow.
But I mean, there's been so many people that have been caught in the UFC over the past few months and in other MMA organizations. It's pretty hard to deny that it's an issue. It's just how much of an issue is the big question.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, and and the more the testing will get more complex and more advanced, and then so will the next performance enhancing drug. They just keep getting better at designing them, and then they have to get better at detecting them. But that cycle will never end.
No.
Never end. Not while there's competitors who want to win and there's lots of money on the line. It'll never end.
Yeah, I think they're just going to keep figuring out new ways to manipulate the system. New bath salts.
Yeah.
New
creams that you rub in and
yeah. You know they make weed bath salt now?
No.
Oh, yes, they do. And I don't mean bath salts like that smoky shit that makes you crazy.
Yeah.
I mean bath salts like you put it in a bath.
Yeah, I saw you. You said you've been taking them a lot? You've been doing those a lot?
I've been doing just regular
bath salt.
Epsom salt.
Yeah, Epsom
baths.
salt. Yeah, yeah.
And I have a tank, the isolation tank.
Sure.
That's all Epsom salt too, but it doesn't get hot.
But you do
it's
the
a temp-
really hot one.
Yeah, the baths I get hot.
And you feel much better after
Oh
them?
my god, it feels like everything's so loose and relaxed. Epsom salts is some old school shit, dude. They figured that out a long time ago.
And you do the cryo thing too, right? Mm-hmm.
All those things are good, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta be proactive with your health, Tommy Buns.
All right.
Proactive with your health.
I got a trainer, man.
But I look forward to it. You got a trainer that loves Jesus.
That's
Are you
true.
allowed to talk about him
Yeah, sure.
in great depth?
I don't think he listens to the
Good.
show.
If he does.
About to find
He
out.
needs
About to have my last
he needs to
session.
know some shit. I got another guy for you. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
okay, cool. Yeah.
So tell me what he does to you.
he like we'll just be. I hired a trainer, working out. He's a good trainer, knows his stuff. I'll say that. Works me out really hard. I've really enjoyed it. I've been progressing. It's been good. Losing weight, getting strong. All that's good. But then like he'll just drop some Jesus Christ stuff on me sometimes.
I'm out of there.
And yeah, well, you know what I started to think about? I was like, I'd worked with different trainers, over the course of my life. I feel like a lot of have like a weird. They always have like kind of something about their personality.
Yes.
Some of them will like, you ask them one thing and they'll give you their philosophy on, their life philosophy, and you're like, yeah, are we doing another set? Like you just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like some of them will download about their love life. Like they have quirks, and it'll just be like in the middle of working out, and then he'll be like, you can stop there. Or when I went in, I was like, I had a respiratory thing, and I go, hey, today, can we just do like heavy, but kind of not keep heart rate up really high so I'm not breathing because my lungs are bothering me? And he was like, absolutely. And then we start working out, and like, I'm just running all over. He's having me do box jumps and run, and I'm just like, thanks for ignoring me. Like, and he goes, I remember you said that, but then, you've been fine, and like, he won't let me push you too hard. And I was like, what? And he goes like if I was pushing you too hard, Jesus will go like, hey, like take it easy on him.
Jesus Christ, you got to get out of there, man.
And
What are
I
you
go,
talking?
Oh, all right. So next set, like, should we just go to the next thing then? Like, I see, the thing I've learned about people is that when you ask questions at those moments is when they'll really take it to the next level. So I'm very aware that by engaging that part of the conversation will lead to more of it. So what I do normally is when it comes up, I'll go like, I'll nod and be like, yeah. All right, I'm going to do this next one, and I'll just move on, because that's how that part of the conversation dies, and then it shifts to something else. Like I went on like a little mini tour last week, and right before I left, I was with him, and we had just finished the work, and I was like, yeah, I just hope I don't fall off too much on this week off. I was basically baiting for like motivation and like some type of game plan, like try to do cardio Thursday and maybe do, this and that Friday, like that kind of thing.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, so I just hope my progress doesn't die down. He goes, well, we always try to do stuff on our own, but like the thing is, like if you ask Jesus for help, he'll give it to you. And I was just like, I just want to know like how many reps I should do on Friday.
Did you write me up a program?
Yeah, and so
you can put all that Jesus stuff in there too. Just highlight that part.
And I go, yeah, and he goes, we don't do anything on our own. Like he's there helping us, and he loves when we ask for help.
Black guy, white guy?
White guy. And I go, all right, man.
Ex-junkie or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guessed. Crazy. So what's the background?
Well, he's not, I don't know if he's ex-junkie. He's just adrenaline guy, like everything.
Adrenaline junkie.
Like everything. But like I think drugs, alcohol, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Nice guy, too. Nice,
I met a bunch of them that are nice guys.
Very nice guy.
And you can't deny the effectiveness of that, like of using like religion in your life for a lot of people.
Yes.
It does work.
And
I believe in it.
I think that my whole thing is that I think it probably really does work and do something for him.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Dude, it does something for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. And
Doesn't mean it's real, but it's like a placebo. Like if you should it be okay to sell someone a sugar pill and tell them that it cures cancer? No, but what if you do that and it cures their cancer?
Right.
Right. Well, that's what religion is for a lot of folks. Like there's a lot of people that if you tell them that the Lord is watching over them, that everything's going to be amazing, they have now that covered.
Sure.
Okay, as long as I pay my homage to the Lord, pay my respects to the Lord, I do my praying, I make sure I do that, I'm covered.
Yeah.
God's going to make sure everything's cool.
Yeah.
And that alone will give you like a certain amount of relaxation, a certain amount of...
A big part of why it doesn't like really freak me out is that my mother's pretty much exactly like that.
Oh, okay.
So, like...
Yeah. You're around it.
Yeah, she's dialed it back to me because she's like, you're 35 and you're still not doing it. But she's, but like I grew up with like, rosaries everywhere, crosses everywhere. If we take a 10-minute car ride, she's like, let's play the rosary. And like, yeah.
Play the rosary?
I'm sorry, pray the rosary.
Oh,
yeah.
pray the rosary.
On a 10-minute car ride.
Like, what do you do during these 10-minute car rides? What do you have to do?
Like, Our Father and then 10 Hail Marys and then another Our Father and then 10 Hail Marys. You do 50 Hail Marys because it's a 10 or 15-minute car ride. Yeah. Pray before meals, pray, that kind of stuff. And then she's like,
Oh, good Lord.
if I tell her, like, hey, this is great. I just sold out this show in Atlanta. This is great. And she's like, did you thank God? And I'm like, I was about to. I called you first. That
Did
kind
I
of
ever
stuff.
tell you the story about how
She's sweet, though.
there was this girl in college that I thought was into me, but she was really just trying to get me to go to one of these Christian retreats?
No.
Oh, I was such a dolt. This really hot Puerto Rican girl who wore glasses. She was really sexy, and I was so I had no idea what was going on. I thought this girl wants me to join her and her friends and party. So we're all hanging out. We're in class, and she was constantly trying to get me to go to these things, and I couldn't do it because back then a lot of times I was fighting in tournaments. So I was talking to her, and no subject of religion, no topics were brought. It was just normal life stuff. Religion never even. It was never, hey, come out to these parties. We're gonna have a Christian get together. It was just normal talk. And then one day, we were at a cafeteria during lunch, and I came in and I sat down, and I said, "Did you guys hear that there was a plane crash landed at the airport?" And they're like, "Oh no, what happened? Was anyone hurt?" I go, "No, the front." Landing gear didn't go down. It had a skid, but everybody's fine. And so they all go, praise God. Oh, praise God. I went, huh.
All of them?
Oh, no. And then I just started like, oh, you idiot. She thought you were hot. She's just trying to suck you into the cult.
Yeah.
And so I go, praise God? You think God had something to do with that? It was just like if God was around, like, why wouldn't he make the landing gear come back out? Like, why would he just make everybody be okay because the landing gear didn't work? Wouldn't he fix the landing gear so everybody didn't die?
He likes mechanical things. He does stuff.
And I forget what the response was, but they were very upset with me.
Yeah.
And we got into this religious conversation. So I'm like, so you guys are like super religious? And like, I had to know like what was going on. So I go, so what are these parties? What do you guys do? Well, we get together and we talk about the Lord, and we like to bring other people into the Lord so they understand how we feel about the Lord. Because a lot of people, they just don't have exposure to the Lord. And I was like, oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she was hot. I think she was dirty when she was younger, and she's trying to make up for
the dirtiness.
Because she just smelled like sex. And I don't mean like stank it.
Yeah.
I mean like she was like sexy.
Yeah.
God. And she was like the little coyote that they would put out that's in heat and tricks dogs into going out into the woods, and the other coyotes jump them and eat them. That's what she was.
Really?
Yeah. Glasses, sexy, recruiting dudes. Just,
that works.
Hey, would you come? And it was like down the Cape. So it was like a significant trip. You'd have to go and stay with them and hang out for the weekend. And I was like, what are you guys going to do? We have this party. It's going to be really amazing. A lot of our friends come down.
I sat next to a girl on a flight who had a book about St. Peter. And I was like, oh, we started talking about the book. And then we started talking about, Christ. And I started asking her more questions. And she goes, yeah, I just came to this kind of conclusion. It was difficult, but like, if you don't accept Christ, you'll definitely go to hell. And I go, well, one of my first thoughts, if you were to say that, would be like, what about like all the Jews and like Muslims in the world? And she goes, they're going to hell. And I was like, Jesus, like that's really intense. I go, you think they all will go to hell? She goes, unfortunately, unless they can accept Christ, they will. And I was like,
what a fucking crazy reality to have in your head.
Wow.
That's the reality that you walk around with everywhere you go. Like, excuse me, you must listen to me. You must listen to me.
Yeah.
Maybe you know me. My name is Kirk Cameron, and I'm here to tell you that if you don't listen to me and listen to the Lord, you're going to go to hell. You're going to fry.
There's no air conditioning, and it's fucking hot.
There's going to be demons. They stick forks up your asshole.
So
you're going to go to hell.
Yeah. When you take it there, it's like, all right, let's be done with this.
Have you ever seen that? There's an ancient Italian painting that's on the roof of some cathedral, and it's all like the rooftop painting represents like heaven and all the way down to hell, and the outskirts, like the bottom layer, represents hell, and there's actual demons and people that are down there getting tortured by demons.
In the painting?
Yes, and
Wow.
the demons are shoving like pitchforks up people's asses.
No.
Yeah.
That sounds-
Jamie will find it. Look at this.
Sistine Chapel.
Sistine Chapel.
That's
Look
in
at
the
this.
Sistine. That's the Sistine Chapel.
Dude, those are demons. And it's just one of them. I mean, there's they exist. These kind of images exist on several different paintings. Look, it's fucking demons in hell. they're getting dragged.
Whoa.
I don't even know if that's the only one. Because I don't see the pitchfork up the ass one. There's another one. Check to see if you can find some other ones. But look at that demon, man.
Now what?
Creepy
What?
fucker.
How come there's
You got
no
a creepy
rule
fucker in the middle?
where like that happens? Then you go, okay, I accept. I'm with you now.
Nope, too late.
God damn it. I mean, sorry.
Well, it's because it was written by morons. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It does make no sense.
Why would God only tell those people? How about tell us too? If God came down and told us how to live, we would all be like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, you're right there. Now we know. Oh, we have to be told by our grandparents.
It's
or told
called
by
having
everybody?
faith. That's what you always
You
get.
gotta have faith, faith.
Oh,
was
by
a
the
good
way,
jam, by the way.
another awesome black person. When I got
George
off,
Michaels is not.
I know.
Okay.
But when I got off the plane yesterday, Deion Sanders was right there. And
Really?
If he hadn't been on the phone, standing next to whom I believe was his daughter, I would have totally. I did throw out like a "Sup, Prime." I gave him a fist. And he was in the middle of a conversation on his phone, so I knew like don't like hey man, but he was like
Right.
talking to somebody. I go "Sup, Prime." I stuck out my hand for him. He was like yeah, so he's like all right man. So he
That's
kept,
cool.
He kept talking. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
That's
That's
my
cool.
moment.
That's good.
Deion,
As long as it's not a line of people trying to take selfies
No,
with him.
no.
If you started a little
I wouldn't
selfie
do
rumble.
I wouldn't do that to Neon Deion.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Where this thing that you do on your podcast, which is a hilarious podcast to do. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, we
man.
had
that was a lot of fun.
the best time with you.
We had a great time. It was fun. It's called Your Mom's House, and you guys, you do it. You have live shows, which I still have to see because I keep hearing amazing things about them.
The live
I get
ones-
a lot of Twitter messages from people that have seen your live shows.
It's so fun. We're doing it this Sunday in San Francisco at Cobb's.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
You guys have a bunch of games that you play.
Yeah.
You play segments.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one of them was Black or Tom.
Yeah, Tom or
Where-
Black, yes.
Tom or Black,
Yeah.
where you imitate black people and then you have actual recordings of black people talking.
Yes. And
Did anybody ever call you racist for that?
sure.
What's the argument? What do they say? They say black people
it's-
don't really talk like that?
it's really-
Or some black people don't really talk
No,
like
it's to be honest with you, it's very minimal. It's not a lot of people say that. I think I think that I think people really know intent. I think people really gauge
that? Oh,
it.
that's hilarious. Are you online? Do you read Twitter?
Well, no, I'm saying as far as a listener of our show,
Right.
I don't think that they go, "You're being super racist." I think that they to me for doing the game and doing a black voice.
But it's not the listeners of your show that you have to worry about. It's
Right.
people who find out about your
Oh,
show
right.
who are not listeners
Well-
who then think it's cute to write a salon.com article about
yeah.
everything that's wrong with podcasting, your mom's house.
Yeah, this guy,
Racist,
racist,
homophobic, fart worshiping.
Yeah.
And
I mean, on my special has I don't do the game, but I basically have a bit that's kind of in line with that.
Right.
Talk about shouting at black people and trying to trick them.
Right.
So, and how I did it to Big Daddy Kane one time.
Right.
So I have a bit about that. And of course, if you go and you read some of the reviews, people are like, this was super racist. This guy did that. I think they're silly. I think they're nonsense.
Right.
I think most people get that that bit came out of it's really out of love. It's out of total from my point of view adoration of black
Big Daddy Kane.
Big Daddy Kane
a lot
and
of
black pop culture.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
that's true. You're a big rap fan.
yeah, I think people pick up on that. I think
Yeah.
they do. So
Well, anybody who knows you knows you're not a
Yeah.
racist. Anybody who listens to your podcast knows that you love to be silly.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
that's
very silly show.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
and your wife are both ridiculously silly on
Yeah.
your show. It's out of all the comic couples that I know, you guys are without a doubt the best, but also the best together. You're
Yeah.
not just funny people that happen to be married to each other. You guys work off each other really well.
we
It's
have a really good
hilarious.
chemistry. Yeah.
You guys are hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so fun. But that Black or Tom or Black thing, that's one of those things where Are we pretending that there aren't black people that talk like that? Like, what are these videos that we're watching?
Yeah.
You watch Pimps Up, Hoes Down. Who are these people? Are they actors? Is this a role? Is this preposterous?
It's insane. If you like, it's one of those things too, where it's like, I know the person that does that goes, black people don't talk like that, right? They'd be like, you're making a mockery, black people. And I go, well, my response would be like, well, you're right that all black people don't talk like that, but you know, some black people somewhere do like, what's up, playboy? I'm gonna holler at you later. Like there's a guy who talks like that for sure.
But it's cute that you're not allowed to do it because of the color of your skin,
Right?
Because of where your parents were born or
Yeah.
whatever. But a black guy could do the exact same voice, the exact same way.
All white guys are like, hey.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor
Yeah.
started that off.
And then how many black comics did that after that?
They did it bad
Whoa.
because Pryor was much more subtle. My mom, she's
Yeah.
a great old gal.
Right.
I mean, nobody had really done that back then
Yeah.
when he was doing it. You know.
Yeah, when I did a bit about the first 48, where like, you know, I break down the show,
Right.
and how there's some really aggressive black guys on that show yelling crazy shit, and I do an impression of it, dude. The biggest response of like positive flipping out, holy shit reaction was always in crowds where there was a lot of black people.
Yeah, because they're not offended by
They're
it.
not offended.
They
by
know
it.
it's true.
Yeah.
And if someone's secure,
Yeah.
they're not going to worry. Like, what are you saying? We're all like that?
Yeah,
Like,
of
what kind of
course
crazy person says you're all like that?
Of course.
You know, everything else you've saw all this other material. You laughed at all this other. You
Yeah.
saw all this other insight, and you think, oh, but it's all just a trick to get you to laugh at some racist
That's
shit
racist,
because I'm
yeah.
a racist.
Yeah, and then and I think that like black people who really flipped out and loved that bit were doing it because they were like, yeah, they've seen the first 48 and they know exactly what I'm highlighting. They know what I'm making fun of. You know?
If you were black, you could do it with no problem.
Absolutely.
But if you're white, you can do white voices. You can do like no one ever gets mad at you doing a redneck voice.
100%
But black people could do the redneck voice too.
right.
That's the difference.
That is true.
They can mock rednecks all day long. No one says a peep. No one cares.
No one cares, yeah.
Anybody can mock rednecks. Rednecks mock themselves.
Yeah.
Jeff Foxworthy, you might be a redneck. Right?
If your mama and your daddy live in the, yeah, of course, yeah.
You might be a redneck. You know, it's mocking rednecks. Nobody cares
Yeah.
because he's white.
If your uncle's trousers are in the yard when you
Yeah.
it's all that shit.
But if he was black,
Yeah.
still nobody would care.
True.
Like black people they have full license to make fun of white people and white
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah,
Especially today.
sure. I think we all kind of accept that, right? I mean, like there's no argument against it, and part of it is because like the kind of the ladder, the socioeconomic ladder. So it's like if you're a white male, you're automatically perceived as you have it the best.
Right.
So like you have to be. It's about like what you're making fun of. Mm-hmm. You can make fun of the other races, or you can make a joke involving race, but like what's your angle on it? If you're just like, fucking these people are just dumb, like that's going to be a racist thing to say. But if you're making a point, like there's some joke, something you're specifying, then I think you can accept the joke,
Also, when it comes to like super progressive or liberal people, there's always this mindset you're supposed to punch up. So
Yeah.
the minorities punching up at the white people would always be the correct thing.
Right.
It's always allowed.
Yes.
But like a perfect example, like a famous person. Like anyone can mock a famous person, but if the famous person mocks a regular person, like what if Kim Kardashian just went to some girl's Instagram page and started shitting on her and making YouTube videos about her feet and like, look how ugly you are, bitch. Look at your
I
ugly
would-
baby. People would freak the fuck out. But if you read the stuff that women write to her,
Yeah.
they use their own Facebook profile. They feel totally free to do this. They're not worried
Ruthless.
at all. Oh my God.
Just go to the mentions under a Kim Kardashian tweet, any tweet. It's brutal.
The Instagram. There was an Instagram of her with her daughter, but she had cropped her daughter's face out. It was just her holding her daughter. And the fucking hate. The people that just hated on her.
Yeah.
LOL. Thank you for giving me another reason to hate your fucking retarded, stupid ass. Like just
Jesus.
saying evil shit. Why'd you crop your daughter out, you fucking skanky bitch? And like all this like crazy shit.
It would be great, by the way, if she started making videos
Yeah.
making fun of people.
Just
That would be
find
fantastic.
someone, focus
Yeah.
on one of those girls who said that one thing,
make
and just open up on
pages
her.
about it. Yeah,
Just
start a
open up on her.
Facebook page.
Yeah. I mean, pull up into her mansion in her Bentley and go, come on inside. I want to show you one of my favorite people on the internet.
Yeah.
And go to this girl, just start fucking shitting on her.
It'd be
people
hilarious.
would go crazy.
Yeah.
People that would never defend her in a million years would go crazy
Yeah.
if she attacked someone on the internet.
Yeah,
like
she's
that.
just like Amanda 811. I'm gonna make a special video just about you, you stupid bitch, and then
Imagine.
just slayed her.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, public support. But she's supposed to eat it. She's supposed to just
Yes.
eat it and say nothing because she's famous. And she's above. She's like thought to be privileged.
Do you respond? Do you have any reaction anymore to hatred?
Oh, it's not worth it most of the time.
Yeah.
I just block them.
Just block them.
Ignore them or block them depending on how egregious it is. If it's just super, like sometimes you go to someone's Twitter page and it's like all they've been doing for the
Just
last
hating
year
on
is
people,
hating
yeah.
on you.
Yeah.
And you didn't even know it until
Yeah.
now. And you're
I
like,
almost
oh,
feel like I
Christ.
have this feeling where like part of me goes, I think they want the block.
so they can say they could.
I got blocked. So I go just no response is the best. Like you don't even
Yeah, but
exist.
then they'll interact with you again. Like you could.
I get, but if you don't respond at all, it's just a one-way interaction.
That's what it is most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely don't respond.
Yeah.
I mean, if I do respond, if someone might think something incorrectly, like they might be upset at me for something, it's like maybe they got wrong.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'll respond if I feel like if I'm gonna get.
Yeah,
into it.
yeah, correct.
But
Something
if they're shitty and insulting, like why would I bother? You choose
True.
who you communicate with.
That's
like I'm
true.
not shitty and insulting to you. If you come out of the gate like me personally, like even if I say something that you disagree with, if you just start insulting me like right off the bat, well, we're not communicating because I don't
Right.
even know you.
Right.
Like you might have a point. I might listen to that point if you weren't a cunt.
Right.
But if you just come right at me with that, like why bother? There's
Yeah.
plenty of people in this
it's,
world.
it's game over.
There's a lot of people. There's no need to like. There's great criticism that you can get from people that are thinking, thoughtful people,
true.
and it helps you form opinions. There's a lot of smart people that you don't know. You haven't met them. They have a different point of view. It's great. It's one of the beautiful things about the internet. But the cunts, just don't bother. There's not enough time. There's not
agree.
enough time.
I agree.
You just can't. But that's something you learn. You learn from like I had this guy John Wayne Parr on the other day. He's a multiple-time world Muay Thai champion, like super tough guy. You would think this is the kind of guy who doesn't give a fuck. He's like texting me. He's like, God, all these fucking assholes on Twitter and YouTube. I'm like, it's funny.
Yeah.
Like just people being mean, talking shit about him.
Well, somebody like that probably does. Is like as a comedian, you're used to rejection more, and
Yeah.
especially with the way that social media developed. Like YouTube and Netflix. There's a forum for people to go like, you suck.
Right.
So after a while, when you see those, they don't affect you as much. You build up a bit of a tolerance to it. But I bet somebody that comes on your show that maybe is accomplished and well known, but maybe doesn't have a big social media presence, when they first get those, you're the fucking dumbest person ever, tweet
yeah.
or text, they're like, what the fuck?
The biggest one was, he was a pretty big, John is a big one, because first of all, John Wayne Parr, although he's a multiple-time
Yeah.
world Muay Thai champion, he's a really sweet guy.
Sure.
Like, super nice, and he would never be like that. He would never, like, think of, like, insulting someone like
Yeah.
that. So when someone does it to him, he's like, fuck,
What's going
man.
on? Yeah.
Fuck,
It's
where's
rough.
this coming from? But they don't get that experience, that weird public guy experience that you get when you hit them with 1.5 million Twitter followers.
Yeah.
Like you tweet something like that, and they feel that wave of people,
Yeah.
and a certain amount of them are just going to be shitheads.
For sure.
If you have 100,000 people view a tweet, which is very possible when you got 1.5 million Twitter followers,
Yeah.
100,000 people looking at a tweet, man, you're going to get a few hundred complete fuckheads.
Yeah.
You're just gonna. It's just like
Yeah.
you pull a net, you're going to get a certain type of fish.
Yeah.
If you drag a net across a mile of ocean, you're going to get a cross section of all the fish that are in the ocean.
Be a few duds
or
in
that
there, for
area
sure,
at least. Yeah, you're going to get assholes.
Yeah. True.
But just don't interact with them. It's like there's no point. And if you're that person, if your person is just lashing out at someone like that and insulting, unless it's funny.
Yeah.
Some people are pretty funny.
Yeah.
But if they're funny, they get a pass.
If you're funny,
know?
you get a pass. But
If
if
you're
just
doing it to be funny.
if you're just raging, like you always know that it's never about what they're screaming about. There's something else going on in that person's life to put that kind of energy into just spewing venom at people, you know?
Well, it's ineffective, first of all. It might be effective. You might think it's effective. You see someone on the top of a pedestal, like Kim Kardashian, like that fucking bitch in her Gucci underwear. Fuck, dude. And you want to attack her, but she's still her.
Yeah.
She's still her. You're still you. And all that energy you spend hating on someone who doesn't even know you're alive could have been spent on improving your own life.
Right. And do you feel, you don't feel better. You never feel better. You don't.
Could feel better if it was funny, though.
If it was funny. But if you're just like, fuck, hey, you bitch, you stupid cunt, like all that stuff is like, whatever.
Well, it's just people that don't understand what's going on. And one day, all that shit is going to come out. Like, there's going to come a point in time where you're not going to be able to do that. It's not going to be as easy as just, like, attacking someone anonymously. It's like, you're going to be exposed for, like, the stuff that you write or who you are, or what your presence is.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And the weird thing is, like, kids today, they're also going to be responsible for things, you know, like maybe if a kid today is 21 and they got some crazy Instagram page and they're going fucking buck wild, and then one day they're 27, 28 and they have a respectable job and they've got their shit together and they've moved on with their life, but there's some fucking internet, man. These Instagram pictures are still out.
It happens now.
Why do you have underwear on your head, man?
Yeah.
You're going to be the CEO of this company. You got a picture with you're drunk. You have underwear over your head. Is your friend blowing you, or is he pretending to blow you? He's pretending to blow you.
The photos are less of an issue for people than the comments. Like if you write some shit,
if you write mean shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's been cops that like have a, you know, they have their online alias, and then somebody finds out, and they're like, "Look what this guy's been commenting on things," and then that's it. You're done.
Did you see the guy who has zero criminal record, and he's facing a potential life imprisonment for flashing gang signs on social media? Pull that up, Jamie.
No.
Yeah, it is fucking bizarre. Like 2015 in America, there is a guy with no criminal record, nothing. He hasn't done anything. They arrest him for throwing gang signs up.
What?
They say that he's affiliated with some gang.
I feel like that's...
Look at this. San Diego man with no criminal record faces life in prison for flashing gang signs on Facebook. How old is this gentleman, first of all? Let's look at that right there. I'm not sure. Harvey and the Rapper. His name is Aaron Harvey, and 14 other men, including rapper Tiny Do, were charged under an obscure California law accusing them of conspiring with gang members who shot 9 people in 2013 to early 2014. What the fuck? Find out how old that gentleman is. I mean, you're hanging out with your friends, and they're throwing gang signs. You don't want to get beat up. You might throw a gang sign up, too, for Facebook.
That's completely ridiculous, man.
What is the video down there? What does that say? Let's hear what he says.
A real life experience on how police stops happen in my community. Me and my family have been living in the Southeast community, specifically the Lincoln Park community, since the mid-50s. I've had multiple jobs, no criminal record, but the police continuously stop us, and it's not specifically on driving. I understand you guys have the numbers on driving. The majority of stops happen when people are either in front of their parents' house or friend's house or while walking. So I believe I've been stopped just off the top of my head since I was 14. I'm 26 now, over 50-something times.
That's crazy.
Again, I do not have a criminal record. I believe only one citation was ever given, and he said I did turn on my blinker within 100 feet of turning. One of these stops, I was in front of my grandmother's house. Police officer drives by, he waves, I wave back. Not doing anything. I'm on my property. He pulls up. Immediately, I'm put in handcuffs. I don't know why. I'm asking why. You know why. Why are you guys on my property? He tells me, if the mailman come on your property without permission, so can we. They go on my wallet. They find that I'm a trained emergency medical technician. The sergeant tells me, oh, wow, no, you're working too close to us. We're gonna have to do something about this. Immediately, I moved to the state of Las Vegas. I'm in fear. And our communities live in fear of the police because of these things. And because of these numerous stops of no crimes being committed, just mere stops of being in front of my grandmother's house, or parents' house, or just hanging out. The police have falsely documented me as a gang member. And because I'm documented as a gang member to the San Diego Police Department, now I am liable or eligible of this proposition law, Proposition 21, Penal Code 182.5. And right now I'm facing life in prison.
This is
With no
insane.
knowledge of these crimes being committed or anything. So I believe the problem is the profile. And when you're pulled over while driving, the police will say, well, why am I being pulled over? Well, I'll tell you in a minute, but get out the car.
Well, there you go. I believe him, and I think you need to use his voice for Tom or Black. I think this would be a good one for you.
Wow. Did you see? Fuck. There goes all my black jokes now. Thanks for depressing us. Did you see the Department of Justice report on Ferguson?
Well,
Police department?
What did they say?
Oh, dude, you got to see this.
Really?
So
pull it up.
after the Michael Brown shooting, and you know there was no indictment of police officer Darren Wilson, the Attorney General went down and said we're going to investigate what happened. It's going to take a little while. So they have a Department of Justice investigated, and they found just so much racism in that department. Like the stats are alarming. It's like 67% of the population is black, but like arrests 88% of the time are black. And the comparison to the white stats, it's statistically, it's one of the most damning reports you'll ever see.
Does it take into account white people just being awesome?
It doesn't. But I like smiles. It takes into how awesome our smiles are. But then like,
But there's less contrast with our teeth, so they're not as dramatic.
yeah, exactly. We don't get enough credit for our smiles and our eyes. Dude, like how often black people were arrested there.
Hold on, look at this. Its report detailed how Ferguson operated a vertically integrated system from street cop to court clerk to judge to city administrator to city council to raise revenue for the city budget through increased ticketing and fining. Whoa.
But the stats are the craziest. Like all the fucking arrests, or black people were at such a disproportionate, disadvantage as far as like how often they were arrested when they were not doing anything and like no contraband, walking down the street like that guy said, versus like a white person was. It's not even comparable.
Really?
How often force was used? Like 10-1 black to white. Like it's crazy stats.
Jesus.
Every time a dog has bitten a person in Ferguson, and since the report was put together, all 100% black. Like all the it's just so blatant. It's
to be fair, though, the whole town is pretty much black, though.
well, I think they said it was 67%, right?
Well, there's a good New York Post report on it where they pretty much went through it and pretty much said that's why this is this, and that's it's
okay.
not as racist as you think.
Well, you know what? Quit crying then.
But I mean, I'm sure it is, but
Well, we've talked about this 100 times before. If you're in a bad neighborhood, you grow up in a bad neighborhood, you have families that have been involved in crime, it's a system that you're stuck in. You're stuck, whether it's some sort of grand conspiracy, which some people claim, or just some inescapable sort of momentous thing where you got momentum on your side, or against you rather. Momentum of your family, your neighborhood, the kids you grew up with, all these people involved in crime. That momentum is very, very difficult to break. It's very difficult to get a fresh start. So thinking that anyone who grows up in those environments should have to behave exactly the same way without any consideration for how they've been developed and grown up in comparison to a guy like Tommy Buns, who had it light walking around in Florida with fucking shorts on. You know what I'm saying?
Sandals too.
Did you?
Sometimes.
Let those feet fly?
Do you want to hear some of these stats?
Sure.
They're pretty crazy. All right. Despite making up 67% of the population, African Americans accounted for 85% of traffic stops, 90% of citations, so that goes back to the money thing, and 93% of Ferguson Police Department arrests from 2012 to 2014.
93.
That's,
They probably have to occasionally arrest a white person just for a goof.
of African Americans, 2.07 times more likely to be searched during a vehicular stop, but are 26% less likely to have contraband found on them.
Look at this. The statistics don't prove racism because blacks don't commit traffic offenses at the same rate as other population groups.
It's pretty insane.
what they're trying to say. That's a really nice way of saying black people cause more crime. That's what they're saying. What they're
Jesus.
saying, it doesn't prove racism because black people just cause more crime. That's what they're saying. Blacks are 31% more likely than whites to be pulled over for a traffic stop. Nationwide.
It's pretty.
So
incredible.
Ferguson being a black majority town, if its blacks are pulled over at the same rate as blacks nationally, they'd account for 87.5% of the traffic stops. So it's racist even by that standard.
This one's pretty amazing. African Americans account for 95% of manner of walking charges.
Manner of walking? Hold on. There's a manner of walking charge?
94% of all fail to comply charges, 92% of resisting arrest, 92% of peace disturbance, and 89% of failure to obey.
What about pimp strutting? Is that on there?
99.9%.
Is that really a law? You're not allowed to walk a certain way?
Manner of walking.
Manner of walking?
I think that's
What
like
does
that
mean?
falls into like that jaywalking stuff, like all that's.
Boy,
like,
come on, manner of walking.
I know.
You're calling something manner of walking?
I don't like the way you lean to the left.
How about you be a little more fucking specific? Manner of walking charges?
That's pretty crazy.
But Jamie, Google manner of walking charges. Tell us what manner of walking charges entail. Even jaywalking is fucking goofy.
It's not
Didn't
it's
you
not
listen
real.
to Arrows?
They bag people in Hollywood for jaywalking all the time. I've seen it.
Yeah.
People cross Sunset. They're trying to keep people from dying. All these texting assholes out here, they're already going up on sidewalks.
They are, yeah. They could just, you know what they could do? They could just send Sugar around and make sure people don't jaywalk. And
I don't think he's around right now. I think he's busy in jail.
he's pretty busy.
After that video, he's pretty fucked though, right? Wouldn't you assume?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
But maybe not if they could prove that guy had a gun.
Yeah, it'd be funny if they pull the one of the gas pedals. There's a thing.
I don't think he was saying that.
No, I
He
know.
said he really didn't know.
He said
that
he was fearing
running
for
a
his.
mall.
He said
Yeah.
he was in fear of his life, right?
Yeah, he might have been.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's probably gonna. Now, if Robert Durst had been driving that truck, that'd be something else.
Innocuous municipal code requires pedestrians to walk on the sidewalks or close to the side of the road whenever possible. Its intent is to make sure people don't block a road. But according to a federal report, police have routinely used the law for another purpose, to fine and harass blacks. I don't like how they wrote blacks. How about black people? Okay, they're not blacks. They're black people. African Americans accounted for 95% of manner of walking along roadway charges from 2011 to 2013. 95%. Wow. And that's nationwide?
No, this is Ferguson.
This is Ferguson.
We called it walking black.
Yeah.
Walking black. You would leave out of your house to go to the store and you might not make it back. Wow. What a fucked up place. They stalk you and stop you, he said. They will say, hey, what's your name? Got any warrants? Why are you strolling through the neighborhood? Come here. You look suspicious. What the fuck, man? Yeah. See, that is just crazy. That they actually somehow or another that fuels the system, and that by finding people and arresting people and all that, it somehow or another fuels the system. That's slavery. I mean, that's really a style of slavery.
Well, yeah, these stats. I mean, I think they probably have to feel. Black people in Ferguson probably feel really validated after after all the marching and then people and being like, and people because people were like, come on,
this is
you're
ridiculous.
Just whining.
This is not whining.
No,
94% of all failure to comply charges were filed against blacks. The whole thing of walking down the road and people pull up and start asking questions like that. Unless you're doing something wrong, leave me the fuck alone.
Of course.
That's what America's all about.
Well,
How
that's
do you
the thing is
expect-
that we do get left alone.
Yeah, we do get left alone, and that's what it should be.
Right.
That happened to me the other day, though.
Look at you.
I was
but
on my own
you got
property.
That thug kind of
Look at you, dude.
What
You're
happened?
sagging? Are you sagging?
Police just came up, I was getting out of my car.
Really?
And the cop's like, what are you doing, man? I'm like, going into my house. I had my book bag.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, let me see your ID. I'm like, why are you at my house right now? And he made me show him his license and stuff. And it was on my. He's just like, you just look weird, man. You have a book bag. You're going into your house. You're not 2 in the
That
morning.
is so fucking bizarre.
And I filmed the whole thing. I just took out my phone and just go, why are you at making
Play
me? This is months ago. It's
You
at
deleted
home.
it?
No, it's at home. I could find it for you. I just don't want to start a fight with Glendale Burt.
Jesus.
I asked Ari, and I have to ask you, is it okay if I upload the video of you two arguing about American Sniper?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Well, I don't want to be rude.
Oh no, that's nice of you. Yeah,
It's
no, I don't.
good
mind.
for you, but not good for Ari. America is
Yeah.
going to be very upset at his lack of patriotism and his
Look, let's just put it this
hate
way,
for the
guys.
hero. Crystal.
Here's the truth. Shroomfest has side effects. And good old Ari.
I'll do my impression of Ari. It's a fucking terrible movie. This is a fake baby.
He's like, they go, he says they're going to war, and they're like, oh, let's go to war. And my favorite.
That's not how he said it.
They go, let's go to war.
I'll play
And I
it,
go,
man.
what are you talking about? And then he goes, Bradley Cooper did like a good impression of the guy. And I'm like, well, that's the fucking gig, asshole. Like, if you're an actor, it's like, can you do a good impression? And like, he's like, yeah, but he's like, did it.
The fact that they didn't show him getting shot was actually a good choice. You
2 hour and 17-minute movie, and then at the end they're like, he was killed that day in writing.
listen, you communist fuck.
You get to show 4 tours of duty. They show his whole training, 40-minute training thing for no reason. He's training for fucking 40 minutes
For
of the
no
movie.
reason.
The training? Why is he training?
Because you're seeing how hard it is to become a SEAL. You mean no reason?
That's a different story. It's a different story.
It's his story. It's a character study. You didn't
No,
think it was.
He didn't feel it at all. There was not a moment where I was like lost in it. Where I was like, wow, you're really feeling tough being back home now. All contrived.
You see him
all-
breaking down. He has PTSD.
Hey, but Paul, he was defending me. Is that true, son? Yeah, because you have a black eye, obviously.
That's beautiful.
Of course. Please.
It was so fun to be there,
We were
dude.
at- that
It
was a
so
fun night. That
I
night
really
was-
enjoyed it.
I think that night, by the way, that was you.
Miss Pat.
Miss Pat was, but she was hanging, which was cool. But
Yeah, Joey.
on stage, Joey, Burr, Ari, and myself. That was one of the most fun lineups I've ever been a part
That
of.
shit was murderous.
That was pretty
That
crazy.
was murderous. That
Yeah.
place was worn to the ground by the time. When the people left out of there,
And
they
people
were like wiping their
doing
forehead.
like fucking 25-minute sets or longer. It was,
yeah, everybody did 25 minutes.
Yeah, it was
somewhere
pretty-
around then. It was
pretty
a long
crazy.
show.
Yeah.
It was chaos, man. They're beautiful.
This place is the best. And we're on Ari's show.
This Thursday night.
This Thursday.
Yeah.
You and I are on the same episode.
Yay!
And Chrisella Alonso, we each tell a story on Ari Shafir's This Is Not Happening.
12:30 a.m. Thursday night. Don't look for it Wednesday at 12:30 a.m. Don't be an asshole. You know what I'm talking about. You're up on Thursday. You stay up.
Figure out clocks.
It becomes 12:30 a.m. Yeah, it's technically Friday. You should
No.
shut the fuck up and understand how America works.
They're fun.
It's 12:30 a.m. I'm awake, bitch. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's not 4 o'clock in the morning the next day. 4 o'clock in the morning Saturday night. You know why it's Saturday night? Because I'm still out.
I'm out,
Okay,
man.
I'm out. This is fucking Saturday night.
This is midday for me, buddy.
Yeah, that's Thursday night.
I don't know if I haven't seen it, so I'm excited to see whether I did that taping for this episode the day I got back from Hong Kong, or like the night. So I am on, I fell asleep in the green room there, sitting up, and somebody was like, "Hey, man," and I stood up and I started to I was so jet lagged, crazy. But I still had a blast. It was, it was
Those
so-
crowds are amazing.
Yeah.
And his new special, which is not his new special, it's actually his last special, airs this Friday night, too. That's, what's that one called again?
That's called Passive Aggressive.
Passive Aggressive.
Yeah.
Passive Aggressive airs Friday. You could still get his other special, which is fucking awesome, which is called Paid Regular, which you could get that one on Comedy Central Direct. You could also, it airs occasionally. They replay those things sometimes. So check your local listings, you fucks.
Yeah. Fuck faces.
Cunts.
Ari's balling out of control. I had him on yesterday. He's so confident now. It's hilarious.
It's great, huh?
Yeah, he's a different guy.
It's so weird. I was going up that hill where Pink Dot is, and he has that billboard that's right of it. But I was in traffic, and I'm just looking up, and then suddenly you see just Ari's eyes poke up from the hill when you're driving up that hill because of the billboard.
Yeah.
You just see Ari's face on
It's
Sunset.
crazy.
It's so
So he's super confident now, huh?
He's balling out of control. Yeah, he was on the podcast yesterday shitting on Howard Stern, telling him and Clint Eastwood to go suck their old man dicks, suck each other off.
Howard just did it again. He just bashes podcasts almost every episode now.
Does he?
He's like, I had a podcast when I was 6 years old. And I was like, yeah, it's called You Had a Tape Recorder. Howard, chill the fuck out.
Well, Brian's upset too.
Wow.
I don't have any problem with him saying that because it doesn't make any sense, and I feel like he's baiting people to talk about him.
This was his genius play that people didn't know how he dominated radio was that when he was introduced to a market, the first thing he did was shit on the #1 local show. He would shit on that show. and then the people that listen to that show would find out. They would end up checking out his show. He baits people this way. I think almost everything he does is what's that?
Do you think this though is that, or do you think this is just him and an old man being?
I think you
out
could
of touch?
say that part of it. I think part of it maybe genuinely is like that's stupid. The other part is he knows that podcasts are getting big. Make fun of podcasts. Make them come listen to the show. It's not like the guy's a brilliant.
Exactly.
Guy,
That's what I've been saying. Give me some knuckles, dog. I bet I'll like fucking American Sniper when I see it too. For sure.
You're not gonna like that movie.
No. Why?
I haven't seen it, but everyone tells me it's like the shittiest movie ever. You're
What
like the first
fuck are
person.
you talking about?
Not everyone. I've talked to quite a few people that liked it.
It's not the shittiest movie ever. I don't understand. Like,
we should go see it. Have you seen it?
I will see
We'll go
it
see it
with you.
together.
Okay.
We'll see it together. We'll see it together. We'll make a report.
Okay, it's I can
We'll see it together before, and we'll do a podcast at night. We'll see it during the day, and we'll come
I
in
definitely can see. People saying I like this movie. I don't for any movie, right? I like that movie. I don't like that movie.
Sure.
Like that, it's a piece of shit. Not a fucking chance. If you think it's a piece of shit, you're fucking retarded. Like something is wrong with you if you go, that's a piece of shit garbage movie. It's ridiculous.
Did you like Birdman?
It's a quality film. I didn't see it. It's a quality. Sniper's a quality film. I can see you not liking different things about it. You can be like, I'm against war. I'm against military. All that stuff. Absolutely. But to be and you can even say like, I don't like it. But to be like, that's a piece of garbage movie. It's ridiculous.
What do you think was better, that or Lone Survivor? I didn't see either one of them.
I think Lone Survivor was pretty fucking fantastically done as far as the
war scenes,
the battles. Yeah, that which is basically the whole film. It's a really good movie, and that surprised the shit out of me. I saw it at home. The billboard never did anything. I was like, I don't want to see this. I thought Lone Survivor was one of those like fucking Rambo movies. When I thought Lone Survivor like one against everybody, like that kind
bullshit,
of thing.
just a fiction.
That's what I thought. I didn't look into it, and it came on one night, just started, and I was like, it's fucking midnight. I'll watch this. It's really good.
It's going to be real hard for someone to make a fictional movie that really resonates about war, other than like a Hurt Locker type movie,
right?
Where you show like some weird aberration, like this dude who wants to keep going back and uncork bombs.
My argument with Art, which you'll see, like we argued too about like how Cooper did as far as portraying the role. Mm-hmm. And I think he did a great job. I mean, I thought there's a lot of layers to his performance, and you see somebody suffer from PTSD in the film as effectively as you could show it. I thought he did a great job. Did you like Zero Dark 30?
Yeah, I liked that. I liked it, but what I didn't like is the bullshit. I didn't like the fact that they had created this woman who, was the architect of this thing, and then I found out that she didn't exist. I went, what?
What? I thought that she did exist.
It's not what I heard.
Really?
Yeah.
That the woman that like was
the
locked
architect
on
of all that stuff?
to the messenger.
No,
really?
I heard that was a plot piece. Pull that up, Jamie. Make sure I'm correct, because I'm getting it from a ranting Army Ranger who had a few beers in him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Who just
It's
said it was all bullshit. He was explaining to me what was bullshit about it, how it was bullshit that they would never listen to her. Like this whole thing is ridiculous. Like the way they portrayed everybody was ridiculous. Yeah. Then there's the story, which is very different. The story that the guy wrote that was there, the guy who apparently was there on the raid who wrote, which differs from other people's versions of the event.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, man. I wonder how much of these guys, because the Chris Kyle thing had come under fire from a lot of people because he apparently lied about a lot of shit.
He made up some shit, for sure.
He made up a lot of shit in his book. And you got to wonder how much of these guys are involved in this insanely risky endeavor, right? You're a fucking special ops soldier. You're out there doing nutty shit in the middle of the night with night vision, shooting people, fucking high risk. And, when they realize, like, this is not going to pay off financially. The only way to do it is just fucking let's juice this story up. Yeah. Let's add some stuff to this. Let's throw some controversial shit in there that's going to guarantee that people are going to talk about it.
True. Yeah, I mean, and like, I've read the articles about like things that he claimed, and I don't know if there's
so it's a real woman? Yeah. So it is a real woman.
That's what I
thought. He was talking crazy. So let's find out what wasn't true about Zero Dark 30. What was incorrect about Zero Dark 30? Because that's a big thing about me lately is these fucking movies that are on real life and they make shit up.
Yeah.
Because of that Foxcatcher movie, which was about this guy Mark Schultz who fought in the UFC, and all sorts of bullshit in that movie. And he made a Twitter post about it yesterday, asking people if they were interested in him giving a detailed account of all the inaccuracies of the movie. He said, if people are interested in it, let me know and I'll do that. And so people started responding to him, and I retweeted it because I want to know, like, all the different, because I know a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Just based on who he was at the time, like that he was already a world champion, that he was already one of the best wrestlers on the planet, that he was the UFC wasn't even around when they had him watching the UFC in 1987. Didn't exist. All this weird gay shit between him and that DuPont, not real. No one says that. Like, they made a bunch of shit up to try to move the story along, and it's about a guy's really long.
They do this to every movie, though. Every movie that has that's based on, you know, a real story. There's added characters, added moments to dramatize, added stuff to you know, pique your interest and make the story more interesting. And yeah, it's kind of they should almost at the end of films put up like a slate that just shows you everything. Like, here are the scenes that we completely had made up. You know what I mean? So you would walk away going, like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, apparently there's a lot of people that think that Zero Dark 30 there's a lot of shit in it that's bullshit.
Well, yeah.
There's a whole. I'm looking at several articles about the factual errors or the things that they just made up about Zero Dark 30.
Apparently, I mean, and obviously this guy's not going to come clean about what's accurate or not, but who was the CIA director at the time? He's played by Gandolfini in Zero Dark 30. I can't remember his name.
Whatever.
But he said that, like, because I think Gandolfini curses in the movie as him. And like when he's playing the part of this guy, and he goes, "That's the only accurate part of that movie." And I say "fuck" a lot.
Yeah. Well, they're not really that interested in making things accurate. They're they're interested in making things accurate
Compelling
enough.
Movie. Yeah.
Accurate enough and then good.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's like, to dramatize a true story, you have a massive obligation. You have a massive obligation to make it interesting, but also to make it factual. Because it's a true story. A lot of people find out about certain things, and they hear about them from a movie.
Yeah.
You expect, like, oh, it's based on a true story. You know, this guy really did this. And then you find out, nope, never did that. Like the Reuben Carter Hurricane movie. You know that movie?
Yes. Denzel.
Oprah Winfrey had the guy on the show, and wow, we let him loose, and it's, you know, the guy was in jail, and it was all wrong. It was against him, and he could have been the champion of the world. And then there's a cop in the movie that's always trying to get him. That cop wasn't even real.
Yeah.
The cop didn't exist. Like, this one cop that's been
trying
to get him his whole life. Like, so you made a story about a real guy and his real story, but then you added this character in there to sort of move everything along the way you think it should in a good guy, bad guy movie.
But I see, you know, in my limited experience with this, like, I have a script thing that I'm working on, and like when I
Tommy Buns,
when I get the notes,
into screenwriting.
Yeah, when you get notes from like producers or network people, you're like, it's always stuff like, add something like this, put that, this character should have more of somebody that challenges them this way. And so you see, like, I see how you go, but isn't the meat of this, like, doesn't this work enough as a story? And it's like, yeah, but you know, this is how we make stories. This is how movies and shows are made. So add all these elements to it.
You got to have autonomy if you're going to have your own creation, because that's the problem with movies and TV shows. They cost a lot of money to make.
Yeah.
So when a lot of people are putting their money up, they want results, and they want it to be their way, and they want to get their little greasy fingers all over
Which
everything.
is why you have to listen to their, their
your
opinions.
notes.
Yeah, you have
Otherwise, you'd be like imagine if that was the case with stand-up. Imagine if, like, you became an entity as a stand-up comedian. Like, hey, Tom, we really like what you're doing out there, so we want to be in business with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to put up the money for all your travel or your hotel. We're going to give you a salary, and we're going to be a part of Tom Segura Enterprises, and we're going to have meetings every week. And what are we working on this week? Well, here's the script that Bobby and the writers have come up. You know, you can alter this if you like, Tom, as long as, of course, we approve it at the end before you go on stage. And you get to this, like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what have I done?
It'd be
Like,
the
we're
worst.
so spoiled.
That's why it's the last and best thing that you can never give up if you're doing it. It's,
you
know,
can't give it up. We're so spoiled.
So yeah,
spoiled.
You really get to do whatever you want,
and even more so now because you have podcasts.
Yeah,
like I've seen how the podcast has changed your whole thing, man. It's like you guys sell out everywhere now. You have like a real following.
Dude, I just did a tour like of one-nighters. Almost everyone was sold out. I mean, from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which was unbelievable. This place, Hub City Comedy, Lafayette the next night, and then I did Punchline in Atlanta, Jacksonville, West Palm Beach.
Bam!
Almost every show sold out. Yeah.
And it's all podcast fans.
Podcast and Netflix, the two of them together.
that nuts?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is all internet stuff. All of it's
My
internet.
whole thing is internet. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Everything. Yeah.
It's amazing. This is a weird time for that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, man.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Because like all the shit that you have to deal with if you're creating a script and it has to get passed by all these producers and executives,
Yeah.
none of that exists, but yet all this success exists. Mm-hmm. All these people love what you're doing. Like, what fucking studio executive would sign off on Black or Tom?
I don't think
None.
no.
Zero.
They'd be like-
You couldn't have people in the room with you. They would be like shaking their head, looking at each other. I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him. And they would go, Tom, so, hey, went well. Tom or Black? I just, for what you get out of it, I don't think it's your best work.
Yeah.
And for what you get out of it, I just think it's not worth what you give up.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to show you some tweets.
And
People that think, look at the guy with the egg next to his name. His
He
name
was-
is Zero Dark 30, and he thinks you're a racist.
Yeah. We should stop it. There was like I was on a morning news show. There's like Good Morning whatever things, and I had on like a black jacket and a black and gray, I think either LA hat or I think it was an LA hat. It was black and gray, and he was like, "Big Dodger fan?" And I go, "No, I hate baseball." And he was like, okay." And I go, I just wear hats for the colors, like black guys, just to match. And he was like, "Hey," like immediately was like, whoa.
On the air, he said
On the
this?
air, yeah. I go, it's just like I just wear it for the style, like just for the colors, like black guys. And he's like, okay, so this weekend you're going to be at the, and I was like, wow, like he flipped out.
Didn't want to
over-
lose his job.
Yeah, immediately. And again, I'm the comedian, I get to say whatever I want, but that for him was like super risky.
Can you imagine if he said that? Hey, I just wear hats like black guys. People would want his head.
Yeah, of course.
You can't do that if you're a newscaster guy. They will have you fucking removed.
Yeah, and he thought afterward, he was like, wow, you're kind of unpredictable, huh? Like, I was like, well, it's not really that crazy.
In that world, though, you're a little bitch. You
Yeah.
have to be a company bitch in that world.
Yeah.
You can't have opinions about anything.
Everything has to be broad and like, yeah.
Well, we certainly support our heroes. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Like it has to be. Like there can't be any weird.
Then there's
weirdness.
A little earlier today, we had a guest on. He made a comment, and we just liked everybody to know that we didn't.
That does not reflect K-Sun 4 News.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone can wear hats of any color. Thank
Yes,
you.
and it certainly, I don't even know where he was going with that. I didn't understand it either. Anyway, moving on. Some people are just not that talented.
Yeah,
They have to
yeah.
resort to shock value.
Shock. Yes.
Carrot Top is also going to be just. There's always going to be people like that, man.
Unbelievable.
There's no getting around that. There's always
Yeah.
going to be those jobs are like if you're going to be the guy on the local news, like you almost have to have zero flavor.
Yeah.
You can't have any flavor.
Flavor's bad.
Flavor's dangerous.
Yeah.
Gets people sued.
Yeah.
That's with morning radio DJs too.
Yeah.
Right? Those guys are dying off. There's not a whole lot of those guys left. That's what's the
It's-
most funny thing about Howard saying that
That is the
podcasting
funniest.
is for losers.
And you know what's just
try getting a
happening
radio
now?
job.
What's just started happening now, and I knew this was going to happen, and it's finally happening, is that like they are now finally, clubs are going, there's no more radio. Like they're saying, like you go, so we doing press tomorrow morning? They're like, we don't do that anymore. And it'll be like, it's not that like, oh, you're completely sold out, we don't need to do any press. They're just like, it's a waste of time. They finally realized I'm not saying all radio is a waste of time, but they realized in certain markets with certain shows, they're like, we're not going to pay anymore for things. There's no point in bringing you there.
Right.
It doesn't turn into anything. You don't have to do it.
Well, there was one radio station where I did way back in the day when I used to have to do those morning shows where they talked about how they had a deal with this radio station where they would buy ads. And because they would buy ads, the DJs it was like a bribe to get the comics to come in and do the morning show. So the comics would come in and do the morning show, tell them when they were there, and they would buy ads for the radio show during the day.
Wow.
And I was like, well, you have to buy ads, huh? Yeah, you can't get anybody in unless you buy ads. I'm like, wow, it's that blatant? Like,
Yeah.
it's that blatant.
Yeah, it's great now. And I've there's been like markets now where I go to and there's radio set up and I'll be like, I don't want to do it. And they go, okay. And you know what? Turnout's like great. Like it's not,
The
take it-
problem with the radio is just getting up. It breaks your whole brain.
getting up and you always roll the dice. There's some great guys doing radio, but then there's also shows where you're like, dude, this is a waste. Why are we doing
yeah,
this? This
that
sucks.
that could get bad.
That's worse than getting up for me, I think, is like when you get there and they're like, what do you want him to ask you? And I'm like, whatever he wants.
Eliza Schlesinger had some crazy incident happen recently.
Oh, I think I heard about that.
Yeah, I'll let her tell it next time she was here. But like, she cracked a joke, and she didn't realize that like this dude's mom was dead. And
But the dude kind of opened the door to begin with.
I don't remember the exact way
I
the
heard
joke
about that.
went, but it was a classic example. It was a classic example. I could call her and have her talk about it on the air. Let me see if she'll do that. Let's see if she even answers. Give it a shot. I've never done this before. Fuck it. But it's just highlighting how those people can be a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You gonna patch it in through the speakerphone?
Yeah, this is how I do it. It's high tech.
Yeah.
It's high tech as fuck. What is that?
That sounds like
What the heck?
That's the government.
Oh,
That's the government cutting out.
Joe Rogan. Stop talking
Like,
shit about 0 to
NSA
30.
doesn't need this. Yeah, what is that? A little weird.
You have reached the voicemail box.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Oh man, yeah.
She starts getting texts.
That is
Asshole face. What the fuck?
I feel like the goal of doing stand up long enough and like the biggest mark of success is being like, oh, I don't have to do radio. Like that's the dream.
I know, but some places the dream was to do radio.
Some places it was.
Like to get on the Bob and Tom show.
Sure, yeah.
You know, Bob and Tom, they fucking said no to Joey Diaz. He was
Why?
supposed to go there, and someone saw something on YouTube that he did, or most likely everything on YouTube.
Yeah. Anything he's ever
Anything
said.
he's ever said ever about everything.
I have conversations
And they
with
pulled
that
him
guy
off.
that-
They
yeah.
pulled him off the show.
What?
Yeah, he sold out every show. I tweeted the shit out of it. He sold out every fucking show. And then Bob and Tom got hit with a deluge of insults. You know, you guys are old, you're fucking idiots, you're losers, he's the funniest guy on
Jesus.
earth. You pulled him because of a YouTube video. He's not the YouTube video, you stupid fucks.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, whose decision it was to do that, but those guys are really good guys too. I've done their show before.
they're nice
super
guys.
super nice guys.
Yeah.
I don't know whose decision it was to not have Joey on. That's just so dumb.
That's stupid.
He's a professional. He doesn't swear on the air. He's
No.
not going to do anything stupid.
No.
Come on, Indiana.
They might bring in some treats for people to try.
He might
enjoy
dose
it.
you. He might dose you. He might dose you.
You eat your breakfast burrito yet? Try this.
What you had to do this weekend?
Let's see. Tomorrow I'm doing the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club.
Oh.
So I'm doing that Wednesday night, and then
How is that? That's in Ventura, California?
I
That's
haven't
not
done
that
it.
far
I'm
away,
excited to do it. Yeah,
I heard that's good.
I think it's going to be fun. Sunday I do the podcast live, and then next week Virginia Beach Funny Bone. And I added today. I added a bunch. I'm doing some big venues coming up, and I added them. I got Park West in Chicago, Neptune Theater in Seattle.
All of it available, TomSegura.com.
Yeah,
you can
very
find all that
excited.
shit.
Yeah.
All right, fuckers. Let's wrap this bitch up. I got to get out of here. I got
roll.
things to do. Oh, Brian, you got a show tomorrow night at the Comedy Store, right?
Yes, Bert Kreischer, Ari Shafir,
Ari
a bunch of
Schaefer.
us.
Bam, bam, bam. Ice House tomorrow night is sold the fuck out. And that shit's going to be off the chain as well. A Majestic Theater in Dallas, Friday night, almost sold out. Very few tickets left. Tony Hinchcliffe, Ian Edwards, and me. Hoo-ah! All right, we'll see you guys next week. Much love. Enjoy your weekend. Big kiss for all you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Ew.
That was a blast.